We don't like to talk about import tariffs in our hangout because we're Americans and we throw things in the water for that. Yeah.
We fought a couple wars over tariffs.
That's right. You take your tariff and yeah. So we're live and it's open topic Friday. We can talk anywhere between what's in the movies and tariffs, as Ryan was talking about.
Let's not talk about tariffs. Oh my god.
Traps are gay. How about that?
What is a trap?
A trap is a dude that looks and dresses like a girl to entice dudes.
I mean, assuming they're actually looking to seal the deal, I mean that's technically going to be accurate.
Did you run into said trap?
No, it's kind of an internet meme. It got big when I forget what conference it was, but somebody asked the streamer Total Biscuit during a Q&A session if traps were gay, and he kind of lost his shit over it, and it became this huge meme.
What? Apparently this happened to the Total Biscuit.
Total Biscuit.
I haven't seen him in a while. Is he all right? I think he had cancer or something.
I have no idea. I wasn't. I didn't avidly follow him. I occasionally enjoy his commentary on subjects, but he can get a bit long-winded at times.
I remember having to watch Fat Boss videos all the time to figure out what my raid strategy was.
Your what strategy?
Our raid strategies when we were doing raids.
Oh, okay. That did not sound like raid the first time you said it.
Please do me a favor and share this link, just in case we have one viewer.
Oh, sure.
One whole viewer? My God.
I know, right?
Oh, hey, Jim. Check this out.
Yes. I can...
Friend, I don't know if it's in focus or not.
Looks like a D20 of some kind.
It's actually a box for dice related to D20s.
That is cool.
Yeah, let me see if I can get a little bit more light.
I'm kind of jealous now.
Yeah, a friend got me this for Christmas.
It gives you nothing but critical failures, right?
Probably. That'd be my luck.
Are you really a bard?
I play one in a game. And another friend got me this t-shirt because she plays D&D with me in that game where I play as a bard.
I'm actually playing
a musical, so I mean, I've sung.
Do they make you sing all your magic, or like when you inspire courage, do they make you sing a song?
Oh no! But generally speaking, it's a lot of buckle swash from my character, who has great delusions of grandeur. Because
mine just
the rest of the party is not along for that ride.
Mine's kind of the opposite. I would prefer to drink and whore my way through whatever town we find, and I keep getting drug on these quests by these murderous thugs.
Oh no, he's the one sort of dragging the party along. He's got that superficial sense of goodness, though. He wants to appear good. He doesn't necessarily get too upset if they're kind of dicks when no one's looking.
Nah, dude. Neutral evil all the way.
Oof.
Neutral evil.
I played an evil character in one campaign, and one of the other players like almost rage quit because I was accomplishing so many things and I was doing awful things, but no one could catch me doing it. So he just sat there and raged at the fact that he couldn't stop me.
Oh, I find it fun to play evil characters that aren't overtly evil, right?
Oh,
so
God.
I just with this guy, I just interpreted as he's like as selfish as he could be. Right? He doesn't care whose feelings he hurts. He doesn't care who he dicks over. He doesn't care if he happens to score all the loot while everybody else is out fighting the monster. Them's the breaks, kiddo.
Yeah. I mean, there is a certain amount of pragmatism to neutral evil. You don't really have any ideological, like, commitments.
Yeah, it's the practical alignment. You don't have to worry about, like, being good and shit. The only time your alignment really makes you worry is when you're on a good aligned plane.
It's true. I mean, true neutral, well, it depends on how you play true neutral. There's the two ways to play true neutral. There's the really weird way, where you're adamantly focused on balance. Or there's the kind of way, which is generally considered the standard for humans and most of the races in D&D.
The whatever alignment.
The kind of neutral, just, I'm going to kind of just go with what works for me.
It's like the dude, man. Or, you know, your dude, Sir El Duderino, if you're not into the whole brevity thing.
The dude abides.
The dude abides.
It's my second favorite movie.
Did you ever see the Pete Holmes sketch where they're trying to teach him D&D?
No, but I have a feeling I'm going to in the near future.
Yeah, they're just like, okay, and you see this wizard in the corner. What are you gonna do? Stay as far away as I possibly can. Like, everything's just like not cooperating.
My brother keeps trying to get me to watch Harmon Quest. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Harmon Quest is pretty entertaining. I've enjoyed it. One of my favorite moments is the main guy, Harmon. In one episode, he's like, oh, I remember their name. Ha! Notes! Who's the alcoholic now?
Yeah, I think I got
victory. But generally pretty entertaining. Oh, we lost Jim.
Jim will be back. For some reason, his cell phone just hates him.
Usually make it like a whole half hour before I get Google quaked, man.
Oh, there you go.
That is exactly what my tech life looks like.
Oh, the everything in flames?
Yes, and also YouTube's Twitter account.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, I saw some shit.
But that's crazy. When you said I saw some shit, it was like totally in line with "This is fine" when he's mouthing it.
It did look like he was saying that.
It's excellent.
We have So Real in the house. This is his first hang with us. Let me go ahead and put him up on the queue. I see an eyeball. It's kind of scary.
I see you.
So Real, why are you picking on GMan?
Because it's fun, and I can't help myself.
I saw you get kicked out.
Yeah, that's because he knows that if I would have asked him the rest of the questions, it would have got really crazy. And also, when we went off air, he actually did answer, the question, but he ended up saying that he told GCon and vocab that, fine, I'm out, I quit, I never wanted to be a part of the squad. And he left. And then 3 or 2 minutes later, he called back and said, I demand a vote out. Had the people had heard that, the people that supported him, if that part would have got on air, I wonder how they would have felt. I mean,
that's embarrassing.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the questions that I asked him, I think anybody can put 2 and 2 together. I mean, how did you not know that you were out of Shield Squad if you had went to GCon and vocab and Cherry to ask for a vote out? You're going for a vote out, or you complained to Cherry that you wanted a vote out. It doesn't make sense unless you were removed, whether by you or by GCon and vocab. It doesn't make sense to complain about that.
Well, it seems like he knew since he's been flailing around for the last week.
This is where you're going wrong, though, dude. Right? Is you're
Uh-oh.
trying to use sense and G-Man at the same time.
Oh no, the cognitive dissonance. I don't think it would. You know, I don't think it would align. I don't know. All right, I quit. But yeah,
Drag's analogy of the guy that you have to remove from your raid because there's like 25 people raiding trying to kill a boss in a video game, and there's that one guy that's screwing up and he's jumping in the whelp cave, getting the whole everybody killed and ruining the fun for everybody, and you have to go, I'm sorry, man. We're gonna have to sit you, man. You keep standing in fire. He's that guy that's standing in fire that you have to sit, and then he's like, I don't understand, and trying to break up the guild because he stood in fire.
He's Leroy Jenkins.
I don't know what I'm doing.
It reminds me of that video, More Dots, if you've ever seen that, with the guy screaming and he's like, whelps, and then this one guy's like, oh, went in the cave.
Oh man.
And it's just like, you guys, I picture
I know
you
this
guys
is
being
totally
like,
random,
put
but
up
you
this
guys done
rap.
some like really cool icons. I'm really wanting to change mine now. I'm looking at y'all's icons and I like the color, energy, and flair.
Well,
Except for Dims. Dims is still regular.
If you want me to help make an icon, I can probably help you.
You know what? Can you help me make an icon? How that one where oh man, how did it go? I remember you said these like really amazing backgrounds. I want one of those. Or something that's moving. I don't know. I'm gonna think of something.
I'll try to make a couple things and see. You've been focused on what exactly are your focuses when you go on the internet?
Say it again.
What are you focusing on the most when you're on the internet?
I just like anything with culture. So for example, that's gonna be like my newest. That right there, that picture there is something I did yesterday when I was at a Black History celebration, and so I want to try to like use that as my new icon, or at least one of my ideas. But when I'm on the internet, I don't know. I just like anything about like the past and ancient stuff and fantasy literature, all that stuff.
Oh yeah, I remember. What
like kind of like
is that Zulu?
I'm actually not sure pertaining to that picture. But yeah, when I'm online, like I like what is it? Things like Assassin's Creed Origins. Where it was 48 BC and there was this kind of intermixture of turmoil going on between Egypt and Rome and Mesopotamia, and it was like just one big ancient mix. I pretty much like kind of intertwining things like that. And so, yeah, when I'm looking online, I always like stories that kind of meld into other things and areas. So, yeah, it's kind of my flavor. I know, I'm weird. It's okay.
I love Scott's one because he's got the little dog on fire and it just seems so relatable.
My life is on fire, but this is fine. Could be worse. Where is he at? He's inside of a burning house?
Yep. If the whole segment is literally the dog saying, "This is fine. I'm okay with the events that are unfolding right now." And like something starts melting, you're like, "That's okay. Everything's okay." And then he melts.
Yeah.
Just got a commentary on the general times and how we all kind of are.
This is fine.
Yes, it's getting worse.
Yeah,
Kind of like the Tigers bullpen.
So I'm gonna ask a question around, and there is room for nuance and ideas. Is the world getting worse or better, Jim?
Oh man.
You're asking the eternal pessimist and the born cynic whether the world's getting better or worse.
That's right. That's right. I'm starting with you.
A cynic and pessimist.
Actually, I mean, when you run the numbers, I think it's actually getting better, right? Like fewer people are poor, more people are fed, employment's generally up all around the world.
Yeah.
Technology is gradually improving. There's less diseases. But my God, you mother truckers are dumb.
And Trump is our president.
Yeah, but the world's still
It's
better
great.
despite that.
It's a great thing.
Well, you were saying numbers. Well, I mean, unless if you just want to, yeah, I want to wait till. Sorry, unless if you want to wait until it's my turn. But I can actually expound on that pretty well because I've looked into this pretty heavily.
I mean,
Right.
yeah, I yield the floor to the gentleman from. I don't know where you're from, but
I'm from Arizona. But
Okay,
no,
Ryan
I
is.
yield the floor to the gentleman from Arizona.
Okay, so
Is-
here's why we know the world is getting better. Well, there's two measures I would look at specifically. One of them is extreme poverty, which is $2 a day poverty. In 1950, take a guess at what the percentage of people in the entire world that were living on $2 a day, at least by $2011 at least if you adjust for inflation. But how much of the world do you think was living like that in 1950?
A lot.
No, give me a percentage number.
Oh, hell.
Well, $2 a day in the 1950s was a lot, wasn't it?
Roughly.
Well, no. That's why I said we're adjusting for $2011.
So yeah, whatever the buying power of $2 was in 2011, if you had the equivalent amount of money in 1950s.
Yeah. Just take a guess, the percentage, of how many people in the world were living like that.
Oh, in the world.
In the whole
80%.
Close, 72. Today that number is 9%.
There we go.
But I mean that's actually amazing when you think about it though. We actually dropped it from 72 to 9 in less than 70 years.
But to counter that, Vice did run a headline about men who are into being farted on.
Yeah, but I mean, because the thing is, that was the norm for a long time. People often forget this. By being people often need to know this. What am I trying to say here? They need to put this into perspective, right? Throughout all of human history, by the time we were these proto-humans, hundreds of thousands of years ago, to where we are now. We were living in jungles, dying, at 22, probably, if we were even going to make it through infancy, usually dying by rotting of the teeth. And this was our civilization, for hundreds of thousands of years.
The dreaded.
Yeah, and then finally we develop tools. We go through all the stages of evolution, and yet we're still relatively even then we're still living in this horribly impoverished state where again we're probably only living to 20, somewhere between 22 and 25 years old if we're even lucky to make it through infancy, and then and then even then you still keep going through this entire process, and then we go through World War I, World War II. But then we get past World War II, and we've seen this insane amount of development that's happened, which is almost an instant if you compare it to our entire timeline. 70 years compared to the entirety of human existence is actually a really short amount of time. But yet we've almost eradicated poverty just in that small blip of time.
Okay, so less poverty. That's a good point.
That's a big one. Yeah, I mean,
but don't you think we could easily return back to poverty again?
Well, a lot of that is because China got a lot better. I think what China had, China was 90% $2 a day poverty. And then Mao finally died, and then they actually did something good, which was actually, open up their markets. I mean, I think they went through an insane amount of development. I think they went from 90% extreme poverty to 10% in just a matter of 30 years. And that's a huge population too. That's a bill. There's over 1 billion people that live in China. But yet, like,
Yeah, true.
but nearly, what is it, like, hundreds of millions of people have been lifted out of like extreme poverty just in this really short amount of time.
Okay. Midnight Sparkle, you there? Moving on. Oh wait, he's here.
Yeah, I got. Hold on. I don't really have anything to add.
Were you fapping?
No, I'm programming.
Okay, he has nothing to add. Moving on. Scott, is the world getting better or worse?
I would say that in a lot of ways the world is getting better, but I think it's getting better and less stable at the same time. At least probably in the last 10 years, 10 to 15 years. It feels like we're sliding back towards the sort of almost Cold War era of just everything feels like it's like, life in general, like everyone's been saying, the statistics and all of that, absolutely, quality of life is improving. It's just unrest is building all over the place. People are getting agitated. Things just feel tenuous, and that's kind of my take on the times.
Yeah, I mean, but it's not like, okay, but like in the 50s and 60s, like if there was ever going to be a nuclear war, it would have wiped out like half the world's population. Like that's just not possible anymore, like by today's standards. Although a nuclear war would also be horrible, but like if it were to happen, like most of us would survive. Like I think the vast majority of us would survive.
A nuclear war?
Yeah, because we've been denuclearizing. Both the United States and Russia have been denuclearizing since like the mid 80s. I think that was like the pact that Reagan and Gorbachev signed. And we've only been reducing our nuclear stockpiles since then. Although I think over the last couple years, I think we've built it up just slightly. We're not at the level that we were like in the 80s, much less the 60s. But in the case of the 60s, we had a lot, like, and these were like recently declassified, I think. But I think both, like, because obviously, like, we had our during the Cold War, like, we kept a very extensive list of potential nuclear strikes or nuclear strike targets in the case nuclear war did break out. If we had actually carried out with that strike list, like, we could have wiped out half the world's population.
And those are fine points. I mean, yeah, I don't believe that that if we were to wage war, it would be to that same level of devastation, but it just, things feel unstable. Like that's just the general sense I've gotten.
I think things are more stable like today than they were like in the 80s, but like we're less stable probably now than maybe where we were maybe a decade ago. And I think it's just that relative like slip.
I could just be comparing this to the 90s when everything was really calm.
I don't think we've ever had a time where things were perfectly calm.
The 90s was pretty low key.
Yeah.
I mean, growing up pre 9/11, things felt naive.
Yeah, one day can really change the way we. Just one tragic day in New York, and it's changed the way we do just the way we actually just live our lives like generally.
I think that I will be impressed if there is another event that occurs in my lifetime that has the impact on my life, on life in general, in my general surroundings, the way 9/11 did, when we continue to still see the implications of it.
Yeah.
I might be inclined to agree with the 90s being calm, but, there was that business in, like, Mogadishu and Bosnia and Desert Storm.
It was so horrible.
Actually, Rwanda?
Ruby Ridge and Oklahoma City. And
well, Oklahoma City was like, yeah, but, like, Oklahoma City was like I mean, I don't want to, like, make the body count argument, but, like, Oklahoma City was, like, what? 168, whereas, like, Rwanda was, like, nearly 1 million people who died. So I don't... Yeah. That's not really a fair comparison.
Right, but
purely from a U.S. interest perspective.
Oh, yeah. No, you're right. I mean, it's not to say that everything was perfect in the 90s. It just seemed calm compared to the 2000s and now the 2010s even.
Yeah, well.
Where everything just...
And now we're all scared about the 2020s, and that's just because of really the advent of cyber warfare.
Yeah.
We got all, and we realize, like, cyber warfare kind of affects everything. I mean, hello, Equifax.
We've been joking pretty much since the internet was around that like you can't trust everything you find on the internet, but boy oh boy, is that way more true now than ever. I mean, hell, just look at the debacle earlier this week where people thought that Steve was going after Serb, and it turned out to be some wacko with a troll account.
Dude, I missed that whole freaking thing. Like, I was trying to catch up and be like, what? Because I was, like, trying to defend Serb. Like, I'm like, I know the weird things that Serb does and not weird things. And I was like, dude, like, what are you talking about? And then I realized, like, this is all just nonsense.
Yeah, this was. I mean, the only way Serb could possibly be at fault is if he at some point had made a James Overbeck troll account, which I don't know why you would.
Now there's a man who needs meds.
Oh, I'm not
Probably
normally in favor of electroshock therapy, but he needs something.
I just want you to know that Steve has managed to get GMan in with Aaron Raw.
Oh, Jesus.
All in one hit.
This is exactly why I stopped watching YouTube for Lent.
Hey, oh wait, is it Sunday? Is Sunday the day off?
Friday.
If you so choose.
Sunday, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought the day off was Friday. You can eat fish.
No, Friday's the no eating meat.
But you can eat fish.
Yes, you can. Clam spaghetti was a staple growing up for Fridays and Lent.
Fish isn't meat, bro.
So St. Patrick's Day was totally invented just to break Lent.
I mean, I know it is. I know it is, Jim. But like, as I went to a Catholic school and they served fish on Fridays and Lent. It's a thing.
Oh, I know.
I've never
I
heard
know.
anyone
I'm
say
just being pointlessly facetious.
Mm-hmm. What were you saying, Cyril?
I'm sorry, I'm making oatmeal at the same time. I said I've never heard anyone say that about St. Patrick's Day for Lent.
Oh yeah. So yeah, the Irish people, we know how to get around things, man. And so St. Patrick's Day was a way of breaking Lent for a lot of Irish people. They're like, oh, it's 40 days is too long. We need to break this up.
Oh, that and St. Patrick's Day is awesome.
St. Patrick's Day is generally awesome. St.
No,
Patrick's
it's usually not.
Day outing that introduced me to Jameson's whiskey.
It's every St. Patrick's Day I get like these college professors that are raining on my parade about how St. Patrick's evil and how he murdered druids and the snakes were just met druids and
I still don't see what's wrong with that.
I'm like, yo, the druids were not nice people.
Yeah, but they probably didn't deserve to get mass slaughtered. Or did they? I don't know.
I mean, the whole human sacrifice thing kind of makes them a little unpleasant.
To be fair, I have not seen a lot of independent verification and human sacrifice was really a thing that was practiced as prevalently as a lot of very biased literature would want us to believe.
It comes from a lot of the Romans who ran away fleeing, saying that they were like hanging bodies from trees and shit.
Still, I mean, nobody's really sorry that the druids are gone, are they?
Hey! I'm descended upon druids from druids.
Except maybe like your LARPy neo-pagans.
Neo-pagans.
Oh.
The problem is there's not enough literature that's survived.
Sorry.
Or I'm sorry, there's zero literature, really.
No, but actually, my wife just verified that, no, druids were, especially the bog people. Watch out.
Oh, we lost a reel. The druid scared him.
Oh, jeez.
Oh,
Well,
Surreal's back. Let me get him in. It's
I
a
don't know.
phone
We
You
got
glitch.
popped out.
dude.
I'm going back to make oatmeal.
It's the phone glitch. I'm sorry.
The people at Google have no idea what they're doing.
It's so strange because in some ways they're pushing technology forward like in amazing ways, and in other ways it's like, what the hell are you doing? I thought we had this shit figured out.
They
Really
had,
good programmers, but I'm convinced that the company is managed by trained monkeys.
they had a good thing going for a little bit where they were I don't know. They had it integrated fairly decently with G Plus, and then they separated it all out and broke everything.
Yeah, you guys ever notice like how once everybody finally gets used to like the new status quo, Google changes it again?
Because they're a bunch of dicks.
That's true. I long for the old days when their motto was "Don't be evil."
No, they're very evil.
Yeah, actually, I think I mentioned this to Scott once. I think I trust Microsoft more than I trust Google now.
Oh, wow.
You know that, to be honest, Microsoft of today is a very different Microsoft.
Hold on, really?
Oh, yeah.
Explain.
They changed with the times because the times were leaving them behind. So like you don't have like the ridiculously overpriced Office, the ridiculously overpriced Windows. They've embraced a lot of the evergreen technology. I mean, so they've made their open source contributions are like they're one of the highest open source contributors on GitHub right now. Like,
Which is really weird.
Right, and a lot of their contributions are to Git itself because they moved from their homegrown source control system and put the entire Windows source code base into Git. It is, bar none, the largest Git repository in the world. I think a single checkout is 300 gigabyte.
And what is a Git?
Okay, so there's roughly 1,000 megabytes in a gigabyte, and
I thought you said a get. You said a gig. I guess you were talking too fast.
Sorry,
Never
Git
mind.
Is a, sorry, I miscalled. Oh, sorry, a Git. What I was saying is a source control system. It's a modern source control system. It was developed by the group that first developed Linux to have a source control system they could use. And now Microsoft is using it heavily. And it's strange times.
Yeah, I never
knew
much about Linux.
Well, I never thought that in my entire life that I would mention Microsoft with the same warm feelings that I have when I think about like Canonical, for example. Who's a major distributor of Linux.
Oh yeah.
For those who know nothing about technology.
Yeah, they are a distributor of probably one of the most user-friendly distros. Like user-friendly enough that I literally one of my very close friends who is helpless with a computer, I have her running that and she has no problems.
If my in-laws can run it. ...
Yeah. It is that easy.
Linux? I've never really played with Linux.
It's fun. I enjoy Linux. My laptop that I have to the left of me is running Linux Mint at the moment. And I use that for little hobby projects. And other development stuff too.
I use it so my wife and family don't break my OS.
Yeah, if you don't give them sudo access, they can only do so much.
That's actually kind of funny too, because when I met Pseudonym, the Google Tube personality, I saw his name and I got all excited because I thought he was another Linux enthusiast.
Aw. Not the
'Cause
case, unfortunately.
Again, for the rubes, whenever you want to do something in Linux, you open up the command line, and what you type in a command sudo, which is an abbreviation for super user do, and it emulates or root privileges so that you can do things without actually breaking anything.
Yeah. The closest thing to that in Windows is if you ever have to like right-click on something and click Run as Administrator. That's essentially doing the same kind of thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't know how to do all this fangled stuff that you guys do.
I have so many people comment to me that you'd think I would use computers less in my personal life because I work on them all day, but I really just do enjoy computers that much. It's when you use them enough, you learn a lot of shit.
I actually saw an article or a video on Facebook today, and it was called Life in 2030. And it said that in the year 2030, we would basically invent flying car technology.
You know,
They
We got
promised me
stunted.
that 10 years ago.
we're never going
What?
to have flying cars until we perfect autopilot because people have enough problems maneuvering vehicles in only 2 planes. Just level with the ground. We have enough problems. I can't even imagine when we add the Z-axis, what's going to happen.
Right? Merging through you.
Yeah, but I'm not going to quit till I get my Blade Runner police spinner.
Well, I mean, that's understandable. And there they both go again. Jesus.
I know it's crazy to me that this keeps doing it.
I want my spinner from Blade Runner. I want it now. Give it to me.
There we go.
I demand my flying cars like Rick and Morty weebs demand Szechuan sauce at McDonald's.
Oh, God.
I shared mods with you, Surreal, so you can show yourself if that happens again. And we got this stupid cell phone glitch.
Huh, say it again?
There's a stupid cell phone glitch that you guys get caught up in, so I shared you mods, so if it happens again, you can show yourself.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
We lost Ryan because
Yeah.
he wanted to talk about tariffs. When we started talking about programming, which I know nothing about.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
we're not even in programming. Like I can barely code HTML.
Oh, man. HTML is... Well, there's a lot to HTML if you get into it.
Oh, I know.
But, so, funny story with, related to XML, which is similar to HTML. It's a language that you use to store information, and yeah, well, you can store a lot. You can store a lot of configuration type information, all sorts of things in XML. It's a really complex language, and I actually had a customer when I was working in IT cry during a meeting because they extracted all of the documents from the old system out, but all of like the information about the document. So it's a non-disclosure agreement, let's say, and you know, all of like, you know, who's the client, who were the signees, all that information we pulled out into these XML files, and none of us looked in the files, and we just said, oh, if you need to look up that information about old stuff, you just look in that XML file. So finally, we're like 3 days before we're supposed to flip the switch and turn this whole thing on, and we're all in a meeting with our customer, and we open up one of the XML files, and I wanted to die. It was the most complicated looking XML I have ever seen in my life. Like, I could barely make heads or tails of it. And I'm used to reading that shit. And she's just like, well, that's not gonna work. And she just like left the meeting room, and we all just had this like awkward silence, all kind of looking at each other, and it's like, oh boy, the hell are we gonna do?
Way to make her cry.
So that was literally, we got out of that meeting, my boss turns and looks at me, he's like, think you can fix this? And I'm like, I'm gonna sure try. And so literally the next day, I sat down at my desk and banged out code for 8 hours straight and wrote her a utility that would literally, she could double click on the XML file and it would spit it back up into the exact form that the system submitted in the first place. So it looked just like the page that she would go in to put an NDA in. And
wait a minute. 8 hours of XML?
Huh?
8 hours of XML?
8 hours of parsing XML into HTML.
My hero.
Oh, that explains why you're an atheist.
And it was funny because then I got on a phone call with like the contractors that were working with us on this. They're like, oh, that would have been like 2 weeks worth of work. And it's like, what are you talking about? I did it in 8 hours. They're like, how did you do that? I'm like, well, I just stared at the XML and the HTML until it all made sense. And then I freaking wrote this program.
Until it all made sense.
I almost just spit my drink out all over the place. Thank you.
Right, my oatmeal almost turned yellow.
Oh, and I mean, Jim, if that hadn't done me in, the time that I got the project where one of our customers was like, so when we try to use this system to look up data, it takes roughly 40 minutes for it to open, and then it takes 20 minutes every time you run a query. And it's like, oh, that's not good. We should probably fix that. So it was an Access database they had cobbled together themselves, so I had to write them a web application to do the same thing. And I start looking at this thing, and I'm looking at these queries that are like out of your mind huge. And they're like, it's joining together like tons of what are called views. And just for the uninitiated, a view is just a subset of several different groups of tables. You just want some specific fields, but you don't join them together like this. And it's like views of views of views of views of views of views before you get down to like what the tables were. So Jim, my project for like 2 weeks was taking apart every single one of these queries and breaking them down.
What kind of sorting was he using?
Oh, it was awful.
So it wasn't using linear sorting or bubble sorting. It was just.
This was not anything that a professional wrote. These were like business analysts who knew the very basics of SQL and would just keep cobbling things together and cobbling them together and cobbling them together.
My head hurts.
Oh, it was a mess.
That reminds me of the time when I was deployed to Iraq the second time. For a project we were working on, my boss told me, you need to learn SQL tonight. And I'm like, what? He's like, yep, you know what you're doing on the computer, so you got to figure it out.
You
And
just
that was the
gotta
second
learn
time
it.
I almost tried to kill my
SQL
boss.
in one night? That's fucking insane.
I would never, if I were in a job interview today, I still would never like pimp out my SQL skill, my SQL skills. No. That is a language that requires dedication and regular usage to master.
In other words, they don't pay you enough to do it.
So here's an example of the average user you get in the Army, right? For a while, I was working as basically the help desk guy for my section, which was basically like my job would be to install software and then call the actual network managers and have them like connect everything and turn everything on, right? So I actually had no power. I just had to do all the work. Well, eventually, the time had come when the Army decided, yep, we can't drag our feet on this anymore. We have to abide by our contract and upgrade to Windows Vista.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my
So
god, that sounds like hell.
I spent 2 solid weeks upgrading hundreds of computers all over Fort Bragg. And like these, and these aren't even anything special, right? Like these are just your like your workstations you would use just to like process like your awards and promotion paperwork, right?
Hundreds of computers rendered nearly useless.
Yeah. So in the old days, what you would do, like with XP, is you would to log on, you would put your common access card. You just pop it into the reader, and it would automatically pull up the prompt to key in your PIN. With the Vista update, you had to hit Control-Alt-Delete first to log in, right? Which is what Windows has been doing for forever. But so, anyways, I finally get all my upgrades done. I'm happy. I'm sitting back in my office, trying to get my eyesight back, rubbing my temples because my head's throbbing, and I get a phone call from one of the guys whose terminals I just finished upgrading. Says, "Yeah, it's broke, man. It doesn't work." Like, what do you mean? It's like I can't log on. Well, that's not right. I mean, like I just network tested this thing like last night. So I go down there, and he's sitting there plugging his damn card in with the big white letters, press Control-Alt-Delete to log in. And it's like, it's not working. It's not logging me in. Like, oh, my God.
Yeah. My brother works support for a company that it's one of those companies that you'll never hear about, but they like test products from like every industry. So they're everywhere. And they hired a woman, and I forget what he said her salary was, but well into the upper six figures as this like media business analyst director. And so my brother was charged with getting her set up with her equipment. So they sent her a laptop, a mouse, a keyboard, a monitor, and a printer. And she called up the IT help desk saying that she was nearly in tears as they had dropped an incredible amount of IT equipment on her front step, and she was completely overwhelmed. At one point when they were trying to walk her through it, she was like, the monitor's still not showing me anything. I still can't see anything. And finally they have her take a picture, and they look, and the monitor was face down. She had put it face down on top of the laptop.
What?
And as far as I know, shortly after this, she went on medical leave and has not been back to work since.
Wow.
My brother and I are
You can't
both
make
so
this shit up,
incredulous
can you?
that it's like, how did this woman convince anyone that she was capable of anything?
That reminds me of the time I was at a safetying a gun range, and a sergeant major of the chaplain's office comes up to my buddy and says, "There's something wrong with my pistol. It won't load." And he says, "Well, let me see, Sergeant Major," and he like show me the problem. So he shows it to him, and she's trying to put the magazine in backwards.
Oh.
This is the highest ranking sergeant you can like. There's only one higher ranking sergeant in the entire army, and that guy reports directly to the general who reports to the president. And she's trying to load her pistol backwards.
That's just depressing. I knew someone who had an accidental discharge on a boat when he was in the Navy. That was really bad.
Is he still alive?
Yeah, but it's ruined his ability to get a promotion.
I should hope so.
Wow.
Accidental just discharges make me mad.
There's really no reason for him.
Not at all.
I used to live near a guy that lost his brother due to a Marine killing him. And I guess there was some sort of debate about whether or not the guy went postal and shot one of his own, or if he accidentally discharged his weapon, but he ended up in jail. And the guy was related to the brother, he was very angry for obvious reasons. Very upset person.
I would be quite mad. I guess it depends on which brother of mine you shoot, though. One of them I probably wouldn't miss much.
Ooh.
Ouch, that's kind of sad.
Well,
I jest.
yeah.
Sure, he does.
I was totally heartbroken.
So you have like a really ginormous family, Jim. Did you come from a big family?
Yep. I am the oldest of 7.
Wow. That's my best friend's wife was the oldest of 10. And I think she was almost married when the 10th was born. But wow, 7, Jesus. So what's the ratio? Jim?
What's the ratio, Jim? Uh-oh, maybe we lost him.
We lost him.
I'm number 5 in my family. I'm the youngest.
I'm the middle child of 3. And the second boy.
Did you feel like you were looked over as a middle child?
I can tell you with certainty that literally one time my mom stopped to get us from school. My brother and my sister got in, and she drove off. And I had to race across the church green to the traffic light to try to flag her down at the traffic light. And I was in like 2nd or 3rd grade. My aunt and I were racing across the field trying to get her to stop. Because my aunt taught at the school.
That's awkward.
You know, it was weird. My brother and I both had her when we got to the 6th grade, and it was pretty easy to just kind of turn the brain off, and it's Mrs. Henry. And I mean, my brother in particular, because my brother got into a world of shit all the time. So like he would get detentions, and he'd be like sitting in detention, like arms folded, like in a huff. But then, boom, time's up. My aunt's giving him a ride home because her backyard and our backyard were shared. And boom, he's all bubbly and just talking to her about the school day. And it's not Mrs. Henry anymore. It's Muttout, which is, we're a French family. So that's what we called our aunt.
You Frenchy. How French are you? Like, how many generations separated?
From Canada?
Okay, so you're French Canada.
I mean, we've managed to trace back all the way to France, at least through one side. But I've also done the ancestry thing, and I know that definitely not like I'm not even majority French heritage in my genetic profile. So I just know that before we came to America, we came from France. And then down through Maine, primarily into into Maine and Vermont is where most of my family ended up. So I want to say my great-grandmother was born in Canada. Not so sure on my dad's side. But that's the closest distance I have to Canada. When my parents were kids, the whole family actually spoke French. And unfortunately, the nuns at the time, because they knew what they were doing, convinced my grandparents that my uncle's speech impediment was being caused by the 2 languages at home. they were wrong. Surprise, surprise. But unfortunately, French kind of fell out of the family. So now my grandparents just used it when we were little to talk about things, and they didn't want us to know they were talking about.
French is confusing to me with the male-female objects and stuff.
You see, I took Spanish, so it's similar enough in that regard, as blasphemous as I'm sure that would be to any native French speaker. They're both Romance languages. They're very similar, but yeah, the feminine masculine thing is kind of weird, but for the most part, it makes sense. Most objects don't actually have a gender. Though then again, at least in Spanish, the male pronoun is like the default. So by context, you assume whether they mean he or it when they would say el.
El tablot.
You can't assume it's gender. What's wrong with you?
Ah, well, you know.
Speaking of assuming gender,
Oh boy.
I think gender roles are a sliding scale, but I really don't think there's anything more than male and female.
The most interesting framing of gender I've heard is to say that gender is something you do rather than something you are. Or what's the term? Performative, I think is what they called it. And that was an interesting way of putting it. But yeah, I don't know. There's I don't know. I guess you could say there are some things that don't really have a gender to them in the role spectrum. But yeah. I don't know what else there would be, unless they're aside from a possible neutral.
Well, I think maybe there's like a hormonal influence on behavior. I mean, there are men that are extremely aggressive, and the testosterone does play a factor in it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, biology is definitely a big factor in how masculine or feminine any individual person's gonna present. I mean,
I just don't like the invention of other genders, I guess. Where I'm like, no.
yeah. I don't have a problem with the idea itself. It's just usually the people who do it are so insufferable about it.
I like Count Dankula's video about more than two genders.
Not familiar.
You should look it up. It's hilarious.
I already like where this is going.
Like, it's the kind of funny that only the internet can be.
Fair enough. Oh, the internet.
Dude, I used to think the internet was extreme, but then I turned on like Fox News and CNN for a little bit, and I went, "Oh my gosh, never mind, they're bad too."
Really, what the internet is, more so than anything else, is fast. Things move very quickly on the internet. Trends can come and go very quickly. And it's very hard to keep up at times.
It seems like it's super trendy right now for people to be, especially white males, to be more conservative now. Like, it's like this new trend on the internet where I'm like, oh, you rebels, you.
Hey, it's okay to be white.
Unless you're in South Africa, apparently, right now.
Did you guys ever hear of that?
Huh?
It came from 4chan, where a bunch of members went to their local schools and put up flyers that just said it's okay to be white.
Oh boy.
And the next day, news agencies were all over, like, hate speech posters going up all over high school and college campuses. Like, you freaking morons.
Well, I don't think I would promote anything from 4chan.
I don't know. There's a great subreddit, r/green text, which is sort of a highlights reel from 4chan. And some of those are amazing.
You said 4chan? Where's that at?
Oh, be
4chan?
careful going there. This is like the cesspool of the internet.
4chan is the dregs of the internet.
This is where people, if they get a hold of your phone number, they're gonna call you endlessly for the next 6 months nonstop.
With the caveat that there is the deep web, which is even worse.
Well, yeah, basically 4chan is just a race to the bottom. Like, how fast can you hit rock bottom with your jokes and your opinions?
But
like, they were the ones responsible for like the whole thing about Donald Trump pissing himself.
oh yeah. But every now and then, brilliance emerges.
There are some very skilled trolls in 4chan.
There's that too.
Like, I have to tip my hat to some of the stuff they pull.
I've found the subreddit of Best of Ken M, who has to be probably one of the best internet trolls ever. Let's see here. Deidre, I posted something from Ken M in a thread the other day.
What did you?
The one about polyatheists.
Oh, yeah.
Stephen Hawking is a polyatheist and just wants to push his agenda.
I saw that. I thought it was funny.
What's his agenda? He disbelieves in many gods instead of disbelieving in only the one true non-existent God.
That's pretty awesome.
You gotta be kidding me.
You know who's not a good troll, though? Is Jim Overbeck.
Ew.
Who is this person?
I honestly, Truthmonger is the person to go to because him and his group like monitor this dude. But let's see here. Let's see if I can dig up James Overbeck.
It's like you take the worst of I don't know. You take the worst of GMan with like delusions of flat earthers, combine it with rabid anti-atheism and more sock accounts than Sokka account, and you start to begin to understand what Jim Overbeck kind of is.
And there is an alarming trend of portraits of young men for the profile pictures.
Is he a pedophile?
It's been alleged by some.
I don't know. I've never seen him as a judge at a Magic event.
Okay.
This moment of savagery has been brought to you by Unsleeved Media.
Here we go. Let me share my. Let's see here. I'm on there too, so I'll drop them over here. So here's a picture of Overbeck, which he himself posts everywhere.
Are you sure that it's him?
Represents him well, and I agree.
Yep. Because there's multiple self-portraits of them that are like variations on the same theme, right? The same edgelord fedora and the edgy Hawaiian shirt, but like not edgy in a good way.
No.
You know NeoCloud?
Yes.
NeoCloud said that he thought me and Bunto were very similar. He viewed us the same way as edgelords.
That's
I'm not at all like Bunto. We're very different.
I don't throw around the
That's-
term hate speech too often, but that's towing the line.
So, did you guys? It happened to be like 3 weeks ago. I think it was. It was on a Sunday night. And I think it was the same night that Veckel got BTFO'd over the MLK thing, right? But he's running this asinine argument against Bunto, right? And I've been in the room for a while, and I finally can't stand it anymore. And I start trying to fix him, right? Just counter what his ridiculous arguments.
He pulled a
And,
race card on you, or tried to. I remember that. I was there.
Yes, it was that one. But after a while, he finally got a little fed up with me, and he says, "Oh, why are you taking the atheist side, Jim?" And it's like you're all buddy-buddy with him. I was like, "Well, I'm not buddy-buddy with him. I don't even like Bunto, but you're just freaking stupid." Bunto drops.
Bunto's like, my out.
That's fantastic.
So I guess I BTFO'd 2 people that night.
Well, Bunto likes to stir more than anything. That's what he's good at. He'll add more people. He'll try to add like enough people that do not like each other, that are like ice and fire, that are just gonna collide and rah! And he'll add those people and then hope that something happens, and then he'll ask some question that'll sort of spark the fire.
Well, it does make for entertaining TV.
Oh yeah, he's like the king of this. Yeah, I know Bunto.
What we need is like a channel kind of like Nadia's, but more celebrity deathmatch themed.
MK's? Oh no, MK won't let you celebrity deathmatch.
No, MK's theme show, like I don't really mind his channel that much, but it becomes a little too X-Files more often than not.
There,
I kind of resent that I'm banned because I won't apologize.
What I don't get is why I'm not banned.
That's because you own a penis.
Well, he's banned plenty of other people for arguing against Veckel and DD and whatnot.
He's banned me because I wouldn't say whether hang on, because somebody called him a douchebag, and he asked me, do you think it's bad? You think it's wrong to call somebody a douchebag? I'm like, I don't know. Then he's like, oh, come back to me when you figure it out.
Short answer, no.
Basically, do my bidding, agree with what I agree, rebuke who I rebuke, or you're banned.
Like he wanted me to go after Fiona for saying he was mentally ill. I'm like,
No,
I'm not gonna start a war on your behalf.
Here's the truth of the matter. If anyone really wants to know with MK why I pick a bone with him, so I don't really enjoy authoritarian extreme stuff, and so, for instance, to compare, if you remember, Steve McRae said, either joking or seriously, at one point, and this was months ago, and it caused drama, that if someone in the Great Debate community went into a GMan's hangout, that they would be barred from Great Debate community hangouts for X amount of time. And I threw a big fit over it because I don't want to be controlled about whose hangout I go in and out of. Now, granted, I am no fan of GMan at all. Actually, I'm quite the opposite. But just the idea that you can suddenly do that to somebody, it just seems not fair. It's like me saying, well, if you're gonna go to MK's, then you're not invited here. It's stupid to me. It's power hungry. So MK did something similar to me in my mind, where he didn't like how he's being treated by Scott Gearton, who's in this hangout, and Renee, and he asked me and demanded for me to rebuke them. And this was a few months ago, and I wouldn't do it. And he's like, you need to rebuke them for their behavior and how they're treating me. And I'm like, I agree with them though. So when he came back and was like, I'm gonna like reconcile with all these different people and stuff, it felt like a very manipulative move. Like, I don't think it's sincere. I find it manipulative, and so that's why I was really backed away from it.
Oh yeah, demanding we chat and reconcile. It's like, I'm at work and fuck off.
That was quite brilliant.
So I didn't say fuck off. I said, I'll talk to you. But I kind of knew in the back of my mind, last time I did something like this, then there was another demand of rebuke who I want to rebuke, behave the way I want you to behave. And I'm sorry, but he's not someone who I at all would submit to as an authority figure. And so, granted, this is not subtle, but I'm trying to explain the psychology of my actions, because I can be trollish. I don't consider myself a troll, but I do sometimes troll. And I saw him make that behavior group, and everybody whose behavior was not okay and not acceptable, he was going to post up, and it was like a teacher, I'm going to write your name on the board. And so I started poking at it, and I made a meme with the piss jugs in the jars on the meme, and it had the behavior thing, because I was trying to point out that his behavior typically isn't really great to, use as a barometer of somebody that can, judge someone else's behavior. Sorry, I don't trust you. Not in that way. I can have a conversation with you. I don't think you're malicious, but I don't trust you as an authority figure.
Speaking of irritating punk asses, where the hell has Josiah been?
Oh, the sniper? I think a lot of people got fed up with his sniping. If anything, he's hanging out with the Hovens. That's where he came from.
Yeah. He used to invite me into random hangouts or always say, hey, we need to talk sometime. And he never made good on it. And I was always kind of disappointed.
I don't know. He doesn't play too nice. So.
Well, exactly. I mean, I kind of wanted to satisfy my sadist streak.
So when someone says they want to reconcile with you, what do you think that means?
I would take it to mean water under the bridge. Let's be friends again.
See, but coming from this person, I think it is, let me explain the situation to you. I want you to capitulate, and I want you to apologize.
I wonder if he's related to my mother.
Well, I mean, that's how I perceive that it's going to go down, like, because of my past experiences. So this is a message to MK, and you can run and tell that to him if you are an MKite. First of all, Craze, Christian, whoever you are, I don't know what I did to you, but I don't even remember you really, except very slightly. And because
that's embarrassing.
He came at me the other day in a hangout, and I was like, what is he on about? What are you talking about? That I wasn't a very nice person. And Mark hates all women, and so it kind of makes sense that Mark hates me and thinks I'm awful, because Mark hates all women, so, because that's not sexist at all. but MK, if you want to reconcile, how about this? We can have a conversation. You can come to my channel and sit and talk with me, and I will ask for an arbiter, like somebody like Ocean, to help mediate said conversation. We can have a conversation out in the open, but I am not going to necessarily capitulate with any demands or behave necessarily however you want me to, but I won't be mean. So you want to come over and and have a conversation, reconcile. You come over to my house, and we can pick somebody to maybe be an arbiter. There you go.
You know, if it were anyone else, I'd offer, but I know me better than that.
Well, knowing your history,
Yeah, I'm
and
hardly enough by his party.
I think that would cause more fires.
Yeah,
You
no.
can get Yester.
Which is weird to me. I think you're so mild-mannered. I don't understand why so many people have been fighting with you.
I got a sarcastic streak a mile wide.
Me too. I'm snarky. I make memes. I'm a bad person.
You're also
Well,
Catholic.
I picked a good moment to enter then.
Ooh, hello.
So I am sorry that I caused that drama between you and Ocean. I literally I didn't know about the shuffles.
I have no idea. I know like it's not you. He's just a weird person. Like I don't really know. Like I you know I can remark on that conversation, but like I mean he's gonna be who he's gonna be. It was a little surreal, but that's about it.
Yeah. Surreal, speaking of, is in here.
Oh hey, I'm on my phone, so I couldn't see. I don't think we've ever spoken.
Surreal got kicked out from G-Man's hangout the other night.
Oh, welcome to the club, buddy. Welcome to the club. It's where the cool kids are.
That's like saying, though, you have a Gmail account.
Yeah, exactly.
My
Who
dad
here
still has his AOL account.
Who has been kicked out from a G-Man hangout? I've been kicked out.
I've never been
Well,
in.
to be fair, it wasn't technically a Gmail hangout. It was actually Ronnie's hangout, but G-Man was the one who kicked me.
Ah,
I think G-Man has kicked me from something. I don't think I've ever been in a hangout on his channel. Like I don't know why I would, at least. He's a character.
I went on G-Man's hangout to talk about slavery, and then I got in an argument, and then I got kicked out. And then soon after, General Han Solo got kicked out, and then we made a video talking about slavery on my channel.
I think he kicked me out because he couldn't tell the difference between theistic evolution and deism.
Well, that's about par for the course.
Well, I just still want to see G-Man's degree.
Yeah, well, I mean, the university he claims to have gone to doesn't have a nutritional sciences or dietetics or any sort of major. I looked at their academic website. So he just made that up.
I mean, I remember when he held up a science book, and it was probably like for third graders.
You know, I mean, look, the guy tries, I guess. I don't know what to like. It's one of those situations where I'm like, I'm trying to look for something nice to say. I don't know.
No, I think his mouth got out of control. Like, I think he was saying, like, I got a degree, and then I was like, what?
Yeah, everyone. Yeah, collectively.
Well, golly gee, let's look this up, because you can look up whether or not someone has a degree.
Well, I mean, to be fair, his actual name is quite common. Like it's not hard to like imagine that we could probably find someone with his name who has a degree in a somewhat related field, but the question is did they go to Fairleigh Dickinson University, which is where he's claimed on air to have gone several times. So I'm not doxing anything. I'm relaying. I want to be clear, not doxing anything. He said this several times.
So if he went to that university, and we know his name because I don't remember why somebody doxed it long ago, then
you mean him?
We should be able to. I was trying to let it go, and we should be able to determine, like, if there's a professor at some point that he knew, or surely there's like when I went to college, they took a picture of me, and I don't have a degree. I just took a few classes. By the way, I'm honest.
Apparently,
Apparently, GMan is, as we speak, going nuclear on Aaron Ra in the after show of the Kentov and Aaron Ra debate.
Really?
Should
Yes. Can someone simulcast that? I want to hear that.
should we do like Hangout Inception? Is someone able to simulcast that?
I mean, I could get to my computer. I'm making a grocery list right now because I have such an active Friday night right now.
I might be able to do this.
I don't have XSplit anymore.
You don't get to finish. You don't get to finish because we're going to You do not answer a question with a question. You answer a direct question. You want me to moderate? You want me to moderate fairly? I'm going to moderate and treat you like I do everybody else. Okay. You answer a direct question. Give him a direct answer.
I'm not going to answer your question because that has nothing to do with what I'm asking you.
You can't answer his question.
He always has to make it about himself.
Common ancestor with a zebra, a donkey, and an orangutan. Not my claim, sir. It's yours. You have the burden to prove to me that evolution is true. You won't hear this. Gonna bring an evolutionist later on how
Aaron Ra asleep.
Show me how I'm related to an animal.
You don't know what an animal is. How can he show you anything?
You're right. I don't know what an animal.
Where is this after show?
I think it's the Great Debate channel.
I would like to know what his claim is.
I want to die.
You want to die?
This is fucking like you got to say something like give G-Man something. He is entertaining.
You tell me if you agree. And Aaron's an expert on this, but okay. To be an animal has to be both.
That was a choice on haircut, Steve. Jesus.
Not produce its own food supply.
Yeah, you have to be.
I like how the guy with the glasses says nothing. He's just taking up space.
It has to be made of a diploid carry-up cell.
With a bilayer lipid layer per cell and eukaryotic. And there's a bunch of other things. By the way, didn't you argue
that the multicellular multicellular organism? The simplest definition of an animal is a multicellular eukaryote.
Oh my gosh, they're defining animal.
That is motile. Motile.
So if that's an animal, then is it immoral for an animal to hold on, somebody just interjected that it must be motile. Why the necessity of being motile? This is just sad, man. One person in the room, bro, I gotta take up the whole room. Like this one dude, this guy. Well, we're arguing amongst ourselves.
Yeah, actually, I think mobility
community is sad and weak. You guys look
If Steve was smart, what he'd do is
mobility.
Just stop that
Aaron
sentence.
to grab him.
Mobilities.
I'll deal with you later, Steve. Fine.
Because what he likes to do, what G-Man likes to do, is get everybody shooting at him, and then he'll break the hangout.
Great. So, you want to have civil dialogue, but when we ask intelligent questions, they don't answer them.
Yeah. You got to answer a question.
Yeah, let's talk.
Okay, Steve, give me your address, Steve, and tell me where you live at right now.
Okay, we're having an intelligent conversation.
Okay,
I want to ask you
an intelligent conversation, and you know that there are certain questions that you're not going to answer. How think you throw that at me and say that I'm not being an intelligent person?
Because you can't answer what an animal is. A child can answer that.
I couldn't There's no reason why I don't want to answer it. I want this man to make it.
No.
This is why you don't let G-Man into hangouts unless you know they're going to turn into shit shows.
Give me your.
All right, want me to?
Go ahead.
I'm gonna make it up.
Heretics got a migraine.
Go ahead, Aaron.
All right, let's. Okay. Whew. Jesus.
Wow, this is absolute mania over there.
Yeah, that is okay. He's not kidding about him going nuclear. Holy shit! All right, let me drop the link. I'm gonna drop the link into the into our feed.
Yeah, RSC, the link to Steve's Hangout that's live right now is there. Not that we don't want you to visit with us, but if you need to take a look at that, it's insane.
Yeah, if you really want to, if you desperately want to see something we've seen 1,000 times, which is G-Man nearly burst a blood vessel in his forehead from weird ADD-fueled antics, I suggest watching that.
Jeez Louise.
It's certainly looks like it's a ride over there. Whew.
I do. See, here's the thing: is like I just wonder for a lot of it. It's kind of it's very interesting because clearly G-Man is very fixated on Ron. He has been for quite some time. I probably have enough butter. Okay. And like he's clearly been fixated, but it's very interesting to see, to see his fixation play out because it's it's just a very unique psychology I can't really get my head around. As much as I think I can predict G-Man's behavior, it's just based on rote experience. It's not based on underlying principles.
Oh yeah, yeah, no. G-Man's I don't know if I would use psychology or psychosis is fascinating.
Psychosis.
Yeah.
I've heard more coherence from the special education center.
Yeah. Like it troubles me that he's an adult.
There's another person in the community who I'm not going to name off right now, but I got into a fight with one time when they said that they had 2 degrees. And I was like, oh yeah, prove it, prove it, prove it. And they wouldn't. And I just found it really, I was very skeptical that this person would be educated enough to even hold a single degree. It's just, and maybe
And what
I'm
ended
cynical.
up happening?
What ended up happening? He ended up kicking me from his hangout.
Is there a reason we're not naming this person? Is he currently
Because he's
extant in the community, or
because he's currently taking a break from the community stress that he was involved in, but he's on Team Fun Day, and he's I'm not naming him only because well, I'll name him Hatgate, and I will just leave it at that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, that guy's an idiot.
So yeah, so I told him I'd lay off of him because he's got some physical stresses he's dealing with. So
yeah,
that's magnanimous of you.
I used to tease him a lot. We'd go in his room and kind of tease him, and he'd get all riled up. And it wasn't anything too bad, but it was just like, are you sure about that? Da 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 da. And he'd
You know who's really fun to get riled up? Matt Yester.
Oh, he just will super like clobber you with scripture. He's got his little sword program out, and he just starts rapid firing Romans 9.
I'm gonna grab a glass of scotch.
Oh, but it's so funny. Like he's like, all you got to do is be just a little obtuse, and then he'll start. At least if you're a dude, start like trying to insult your manhood, and then you won. Like it's so easy to get that guy on tilt.
He tries to attack your manhood.
Oh yeah, like he said to me many times, like you want to be a man and actually talk about this. Like you can't insult me, you chicken hawk.
Oh, yeah, he doesn't do that for obvious reasons, but he does like rapid fire, and he tries to push me to either saying I'm a universalist or a Calvinist.
Like I said, well, and have you ever seen that video where him and Joe Sunseed go at it?
No, I have not. Where's that at?
I think it's on John Naturalist's channel. And I think Joe mirrored it. I think the name of the video is "Wherein I Rile at Pre-Supper," and I'd say watch it, but I don't ordinarily endorse snuff films, especially snuff films of minors.
What?
That's how savage a beating Joe laid down on him. Like it was like a snuff film of an underage kid. It was so bad.
Joe is one of those that's an interesting hybrid of somebody that can be playful and very serious and sharkish at the same time. Like he'll go from philosophically you know, trying to eviscerate a theist to being just plain all goofy. Like when I met Joe Sunseed, the first thing he was doing was he was in a bubble bath and he had like chocolate on one side and a wine glass full of Coke on the other side. It's just like Coke. By Coke, I mean the drink and not, you know.
My mind certainly didn't go there.
You know, just clarifying. But he's so playful and funny, and one of my favorite moments in a G-Man hangout is when G-Man's trying to have a serious conversation and Joe Sunseed's in the background. You can see his little square and he's on the ball and he's just bouncing on one of those exercise balls and stuff. And he's trying
That is hilarious.
G-Man's like, no, we can't do that here. He kicks him out. What did he do? He got one of those like little magic snake things that you open it up and it flings out or something. And he falls off.
That is excellent.
It was just, you could watch G-Man's train of thought go and he's just like staring at him like, what?
You know, I think one of my favorite clips from a hangout ever was the time where MK was looking particularly wacky, and for whatever reason it managed to strike not only Gus Funny, who was damn near dying, but even Darwin's deity managed to break character and was laughing his ass off. And I think it was Matt Bell too, and like the three of them are dying. And I think that was one of the most enjoyable videos to watch, where it's like, it was fun to see these people being humans for a change and having fun and laughing because MK looked like the aliens dude on crack. And it was,
I'm not saying aliens, but aliens guy.
Oh yeah. It was so fucking funny. And I wish I could track down. I want to track down that clip because one of the more enjoyable moments I've seen captured. Because boy, Darwin's deity, now that is a guy that is just a
He's
conversation
angry.
ender.
Is he not angry all the time? Like Matt Bell, I mean, yeah, I just have to remove Matt Bell from my community, but Matt Bell can be not angry sometimes. Like he can be chill sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Matt Bell at least has literally that video where him, Gus, and I think it was Matt Bell were all laughing their asses off was the only time I can remember being like, wow, there's Darwin's deity acting like a person and not just a vicious, hateful little troll.
It's probably a parody account.
No, there was another time where Christopher Mowdy got to talk to him about Taylor Ham.
That's right.
And that was in an off-air after I interviewed Shanna Rocky, and Darwin came in with his pre-sup, and I said, no, we're just talking. We're humans humanizing. And he's like, no, we're going to pre-sup. And I'm like, no, we're humaning. And I said, okay, you have 2 minutes. And then finally he kept going, and then Christopher Mowdy like, the lady said you had 2 minutes. And, you know, he put down the law. And then finally they back down. And then all of a sudden, then he goes, after he lays down the law, this guy, Christopher Mowdy, has this crazy skill of just like smooth as butter. It's like, suddenly it's like, I just yelled at you. And now he's got him laughing and they're talking about Taylor Ham and he's slapping him on the back. Oh, like they're good old boys. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like how this guy has these, like
the magic of Mowdy.
Yeah. These are mind tricks. This is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, like, I've honestly said this. I don't like Bell. He can be a civil person, but the problem is you have to like verbally suck him off, like repeatedly, to get him to be pleasant. And it's like, dude, go fuck yourself. I'm not gonna make, I'm not gonna make that. Like, I shouldn't have to bend over backwards to have you act like a normal human being. And that's the only problem. Like, when he is pleasant, he actually isn't a bad guy.
Or you just be the female version of you and he'll be all about it.
What?
No. Yeah. Saw him sniffing around.
Yeah, he's all about advanced research on what's her name, Mel?
Yeah. All sweet and helpful.
No, I think Mel is much too nice to be the female version of me. I'm nice, but I'm guarded. Like I am not.
Are you talking about
I
that
look
scientist Mo?
Yeah. I look at people with a sideways glance, a little
You both
too
have
much.
Name.
Huh?
Scientist smells interesting. I don't know what to think of her yet. She seems a little. I can't peg it.
She's a little zany, but I don't know much about her. She seems to know what she's talking about when it came to cancer. I mean, granted, that's not my field of research, so it's not like I can authoritatively be like, this girl really knows what she's talking about, but she's knowledgeable.
We can ask Tommy. I'm sure he would tell us whether she knows what she's talking about.
Oh yeah, I'm sure Tommy. Yeah, Tommy can definitely make that assessment for us. Oh, yeah, I like her well enough. I think she's cool.
Yeah, I don't know her. That's the other thing. Is like I'm sure I could talk shop with her because she does antibody research, and I know a lot of people in that. But I actually, so I was at one of my. This is actually kind of a funny story. So I rotated in the lab with a guy who published the reference genome for a very common lab cell, like a very common therapeutic cell line. And I have to be vague because if I say it, people are going to find out. But I rotated with him and I almost joined his lab. Really, really nice guy. And it turned out that, and this was my two friends who got engaged, and the future maid of honor, she was actually a huge fan, just randomly a huge fan of his work because she works in that cell line with antibodies. So it was a super small world. It's like you very rarely find someone who's a huge fan of a scientist's work outside of actual academia.
What's her field of expertise?
The maid of honor or scientist Mel?
Scientist Mo.
I think she said she does antibody purifications.
I think it was something more specific than that, but I think she also specifically asked to not go too specific on her field because apparently there's not a lot of areas that do it.
Yeah, I mean, again, when you talk about antibody purification, I think she said she was being intentionally vague.
Yeah.
Because she works in industry and not a lot of companies do the precise thing that she does.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's like there's like one industry and then I think anything else is like strictly like academic research.
Which is not that all uncommon, right? Like
there's so many
academics
fields that it's just limited applications.
Well, I don't even think that. I think that what happens is well, one of the ways that professors will make money is that they will file a patent on something, and then one of their former students will, it'll be something really specific, but one of their former students will start a biotech company off of it. I can't tell you how many times I've heard of that.
Okay. Huh.
That's perfectly legit.
Yeah, I know. There's nothing. I mean, there's nothing underhanded about it, but it like it's one of those things where you kind of have to chuckle because a lot of these people, they're major professors at major research universities. So the idea that these people, I do have to kind of say is like that sometimes the portrayal of, oh, woe is me, this major professor is foregoing so much money. It's not really true if you're one of the elite professors, Granted, I think if they went into something like banking, they'd make more money, but that's a different conversation. I think people tend to idealize scientists and idealize professors to an extent. that is it's unfair because I mean they are just human beings, right? This is why a lot of them go into industry. It's why I'm going to be going into industry, among other reasons. Sorry, I didn't mean to shut down the room with that.
No, it's
No worries.
We have been all over the place, from tariffs to programming to this.
yeah. Give you one guess, Sam, who got us on the programming track.
Deirdre. No, I'm kidding.
Obviously.
I know the answer to this one, so it's not.
I just shoot people for a living.
I work in a call center and talk to customer service angry people.
Oh, Sam, did I tell you that I was like in this thread with this dude the other day who basically kept trying to tell me that I didn't know what I was talking about with programming?
Oh boy.
But the real problem was he didn't understand words.
What?
Okay, so I was he was saying like, he was trying to make the claim that you could mimic what we claim, what atheists claim the Big Bang is by just randomly generating programs until one works and does what you want. And my question was, how do you randomly program? And he's like, well, you could just, and he literally just listed out a command from the bash prompt to pipe a random series of bytes into a file and then hit compile. And he says, this is a perfect, like, this is exactly what I'm talking about. And I'm like, well, first of all, that's not a random program, but I don't even have time to talk to you about everything that's wrong with what you just suggested. But even beyond that, that's not randomly writing a program. That's writing a random program. But for the life, I could not understand the difference between those two things. Because, oh my God, when he was saying, like, just pipe bytes into a file, it's like, okay, so first of all, you don't even realize you've introduced, like, 10,000 constraints onto whatever that program is going to be able to do just by how you've laid that out. And then he just kept saying, well, I don't actually know what I'm talking about. Because
I'm gonna switch to my laptop. Sorry, my phone's running out of power.
No worries. Clearly, I don't know what I'm talking about because I couldn't rebut his proposed random program.
Well, clearly you got problems. I don't know. Like, what's his random program? I don't understand what rebut means. I guess I'm an idiot.
Like he was claiming that would make a random program that could potentially do anything, and it's like like this is the problem. Like the command line runtime issue. Like, first of all, it won't randomly run on any computer. So right off the bat, you've constrained it to it can only run on a computer of a similar architecture. And then it still won't be able to do anything. It's going to be limited to whatever the bytecode is capable of creating without any structure. For the most part, it's probably just going to throw errors because modern computing isn't done that way.
I mean, I do find it really entertaining when people try to tell me things about programming and about industry and about stuff. I'm like, you do realize that, like, I know about some of this stuff. Like, I get asked, you know. But then again, like, I'm also teaching a course that has a significant programming component.
Oh, yeah. I mean, any kind of advanced, I would expect any advanced data science or data-driven science would probably have a programming component once you get to a certain level.
Well, the class I'm teaching is just a pure algorithms class, so there's not really too much like actual data analysis. Nothing with real data. But like the homework is all programming, but we're not allowed to actually answer questions about programming as TAs. The expectation is that, you The expectation is that, you know, they know how to solve those types of problems on their own, because we don't want to create code monkeys. I'm like, cool, less questions for me to answer. Awesome.
Well, there is a big problem in the programming industry of what you call cargo cult programmers.
What would that be?
Basically, there are people who don't really understand what they're doing. They can just sort of look at what other people have done and mimic it.
Script kiddos.
Pretty much. And all of a sudden they're presented with like an actual like task that requires a novel design, and they're helpless.
That doesn't surprise me.
It's like if you only took algebra-based physics and then claimed to be a physicist.
Well, I mean, like, the problem is, Scott, is that your exasperation is frustrated by the fact that you don't teach young people.
That's true.
Like I had a student who, on our test, they did a thing called overlap alignment. Don't need the details of it, but the point being is that there's a specific right way to do it. And one of my students looked off of a study guide, or actually off of lecture slides from a professor who didn't teach at our university.
I remember you telling me about this.
And she goes, I want points. I go, is this lecture from our professor? No. Is it from our university? No. Then why would you expect me to give you points? Like you, and not in those words, but I essentially said, because you have to use tact. Not in the Me Too era, lawsuits are too easy. So I just had to say, essentially, in not so many words, why would you try to argue on the basis of on the basis of some outside resource that has nothing to do with the course materials?
Scott, reload.
That wasn't just me that was hearing the weird chipmunky squeaking.
No.
That was
I was about to say, who's playing the chipmunks in the background?
Yeah, I was very confused.
That was so trippy.
Is that better?
Yeah, it was great.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah,
We're about to start calling you Alvin.
Oh, Jesus. It wouldn't have occurred to me back in school to have even gone in and tried to make that fight if I knew I had pulled it from a different... As soon as I realized it was a different source, I might have come in to be like, why did I get this wrong? But I wouldn't have tried to demand partial credit.
Well, the other thing was, and this is a key thing, the answer key was already released. So they know why they got it wrong.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. If the answer key's already out, yeah, no, I don't know. That wouldn't be a fight I would try to make.
I mean, it's definitely. I've learned a lot about how undergrads are educated at my university just on the basis of this course, because their algorithms education is just dog shit. And I feel bad because there's some stuff where I'm like, this should be free points when I grade a quiz, and it's just not.
Oh, Jesus.
So it's been, I think I've really improved as a teacher, though, which has been really rewarding. So, like, I'm trying to be like, look at the positive of it. Yes, it is killing my social life, but.
So, I assume, what is it, Python or R?
The programming is language agnostic.
Oh. Would they just have them write up pseudocode, or is it just submit the compiled program?
Well, basically, like the website shoots out the input, and you have to give it the correct output within 5 minutes and upload your code for every submission. Unlimited submissions, right? But
I have a question for you about that.
sure, go for it.
What is a social life?
I don't
I've
know,
heard that it's a
ask
mythical
Sammy.
thing where you have the time to, date women and don't break up with them on Valentine's Day because you're distracted by the tests you have to grade. I mean, I don't know a guy that did that. Oh, sorry, hug me.
That's rough.
It's not fun to live through.
Wait, you broke up with somebody on Valentine's Day because you had a grade
I
check?
didn't realize it was. The worst part is I didn't realize it was Valentine's Day until like I was walking back to my car.
Oh, fail.
Yeah, that's rough. Phew.
So whenever like my students, they'll say shit and be snarky with me, and then I'll point at my eyes and I go, "Do you see how sleep deprived I am? Do you think I enjoy this? It's not for show." And they feel really bad about themselves, and then I chuckle.
What the fuck?
I got no idea what sleep is either.
Wait, you have freaking 6 kids. Of course you don't know what sleep is. Holy cow.
Yeah, seriously.
Jesus Christ, you're fertile.
And 2 jobs. And thank you.
I don't know if it was a compliment, but you're welcome. Holy shit.
He's going to repopulate the earth with Catholics.
No shit.
I figure if we can't convert you guys, I'll just breed you out. So
Fair enough. God damn.
Oh, geez. Yeah. I don't know. I can't even comment on the state of education for my field because I didn't go to school for my field.
I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, I think right now, I feel like in some ways I'm just getting kind of honey-dicked because, the grad school is sort of the training program for biotech right now.
Mm-hmm.
At least as far as my program is concerned. But I don't really, I feel, it's kind of like I feel I'm definitely vastly underpaid given my skills, but at the same time, I am receiving an education for what basically is free. So I can't really complain, Yeah, we're kind of exploited, but not entirely, because I am getting, I did get to do coursework and shit like that.
I wish I had been in a more accurate major for my current work. Though it does, I do bring a somewhat different perspective to things than the rest of the group. Between going for computer engineering, which I know sounds like I'm quibbling, but it was a really different degree, and then working IT support on like Unix-based systems for like 5 years.
No, I got you. Those are vastly different.
Right. It just, I know like software engineer, computer engineer, oh, you're just like splitting hairs, but no, there's a lot of hardware in computer engineering that isn't in software engineering.
It's like when people try to, like, I did computer science in a very theory heavy department. So people are like, oh, so you can fix my computer. I go, no, I understand the principles of how your computer works. I don't understand any of the physics.
Even being a developer, not a guarantee. I have coworkers, it alarms me that they're allowed to operate a computer unsupervised.
You're not exactly filling me with confidence there.
Oh, Jim, like, I have coworkers who sound exactly like your military experience. Like,
That's true.
File open.
I do have some. I do know some guys who I wonder why on God's green earth Uncle Sam trusts them with a rifle, let alone their freedom.
And I mean, once they're within the realm of their editor, their IDE, and they're doing their work, they're fully capable of doing their job. But as soon as you expect them to go outside of that box, forget it.
I like to call those dumb smart people.
Yeah, it boggles my mind, but like, I tinkered with computers. Like, as soon as I had access to one, it's like I want to figure out how it works. I would tinker around with things, and I mean, God, I had one laptop that I probably had to fully reformat more times than is probably healthy for a hard drive, because I would just destroy the OS.
I mean, you run into people who are insanely book smart. Like I don't want to do like, you know, be armchair diagnosing, but the people you meet in grad school, you're just sort of like there is a guy who works in my lab who wears slacks with a polo shirt every day, and they're both ill-fitting. And he is not wearing nice shoes with the slacks, and his outfit makes no sense. And I'm just like, how do you exist? How are you so at once well kept, and at once like completely clueless about how poorly kept he is? I don't understand it.
I know the feeling, man. I've met many a soldier whose recruiter I wish I outranked.
I mean, the guy's not a dumb guy, but he just sometimes does dumb shit. And he like the biggest. He's a second year grad student, and the biggest thing is he'll ask me for some advice, and I'll be like, you should do it this way, and then he just doesn't do it that way, and he's like, I don't know why this isn't working as fast as I thought it would. I was like, you don't need to sort your output files in the same line. That's slowing everything down. And he's like, oh yeah, you said that, didn't you? I was like, God damn it. Like, because he'll clog up the supercomputer with just pure shit that shouldn't take as long as it does, and he's just occupying cores on there.
Oh, so I want to say this was Wednesday. I straight up yelled at like two of my coworkers, like back to back. Like, my boss was like she wasn't even telling me to stop. She was just like trying to like get everyone to get away from me.
Me and my boss get into battles over cores on the server all the time. It's really funny. Not like little, like neither of us will say anything, but we just know. We're just like, why the fuck do you have to use 30 cores? Why the fuck do you have to use 30 cores? Because our server has 56 CPUs.
Oh. So yeah. Yeah, that's the battle for who gets priority.
I cussed out the chaplain once.
Wait, you cussed out the chaplain?
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck what we were talking about. What the fuck?
Whoa.
So, it's morning, and Staff Sergeant Slim Jim has been woke up after only about 2.5 hours of sleep. I'm not happy to begin with. I managed to eat some breakfast, and I'm stumbling out of the chow hall, and reveille sounds, which is like morning. They raise the flag, and everybody salutes, right? And I see out of the corner of my eyes while I'm rendering salute, two dudes just walking, and like I'm having a stroke while this happens, because that's like a huge breach of protocol. So as soon as everything's done, I drop my salute. And I'm like, "Hey, mother effers, what the fuck do you think you're doing?" And I'm just this brilliant stream of profanity. I was actually kind of impressed with myself. And I'm walking up to him. It's like, "You salute the flag, sir." And, it's the chaplain. Oops.
Does the chaplain automatically outrank you?
Yes, he's a captain, and I'm just a sergeant.
So what did he say?
It's like, I'm sorry there, Sergeant. I didn't realize that was the flag. I'll pay more attention next time. And I'm like, "Thank you, sir. Please don't eat me."
He's probably amused.
I'll never underestimate the element of surprise.
Oh, damn, though. I was so mad.
Oh, jeez.
Who's this?
Are these just all of Drag's socks that just got added to this hangout? It's the Piss Bottle Prophet.
It's Piss Bottle Prophet.
I am the prophet.
Jesus.
I love that there's a sock named Dopey Ignorant.
Piss Bottle. I put a challenge to MK. If he wants to reconcile, he can come to my channel to reconcile.
He will not reconcile. You will oppose us.
Piss Bottle, would you consider being the arbiter between us?
I will be arbiter.
I don't know what impression this is.
It reminds me of Cornholio.
Yeah, it's like Cornholio meets I don't know.
Pete Wilson is my sister.
Admittedly, Jim, my story of my screaming at people is for much less egregious a thing.
I can't picture in my mind you losing your cool, though. That's the thing.
Well, I mean, I wasn't swearing up a storm or anything, but literally it was like, something went wrong with a patch, and it wasn't. I had written a cleanup script, and it had somewhat run amok. It wasn't that it cleaned up too much; it was just searching too hard. So it made them kind of freak out, and I'm like, "All right, just cancel this. It's fine. The patch actually got created. Just the cleanup script didn't finish. It didn't have to." And then she goes to try to load the patch onto the staging server, won't load. And now I'm like, no, that script running amok couldn't have affected this. We're checking this. All of a sudden, one of the other guys comes over. He's like, "All right, so I started up a patch from this to go into the server. What's going on?" I'm like, "You what? We're trying to sort out the last one, and you just put another one in?" And then we find out that it was also the wrong branch, and if we had loaded that patch in, it was gonna completely screw up our system. And it's like, what are you doing? Why?
Okay, that makes sense.
Kind of scurried away.
Had I been in your place, I probably would have stabbed someone.
And that was also the same day that I got oh, Jesus.
We do not stab. We throw piss.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus. It is getting late.
I hope you guys know who Piss Bottle Prophet is.
Oh, I do.
Yeah, I hope it's up.
Oh. Amazing. I see who's outside.
Who's outside? Mrs. D's outside.
She is true.
Do you have a troll list, Piss Bottle?
Everyone is true. Everyone but MK.
I don't know how you keep doing. How are you hitting that note and not annoying the neighbors?
Neighbors fear piss.
I know that it's stupid, but I think this is hilarious.
Do you see what it says on the bottle? It says 100% demon side.
I couldn't read it. I thought it said domestic. I was like, oh, okay. Like a
Oh,
domestic
my
beer or something.
Kicks them out. Oh,
So the funny thing was, I mean, like, I don't know why this would be connected to this conversation. But just hypothetically, this is connected. So Dragnot, in one of his classes, decided I had a lab presentation on Thursday, and it went reasonably well. And Dragnot saw one of the early drafts of it, and he brought it up to his. He brought it up to his professor, and he didn't realize. I was like, Drag, you do realize that this is all upcoming research that no one knows anything about? And this was the professor where basically some of the material that my advisor had really fleshed out when he was a postdoc, and had really established as being canonical for gene regulation. Drag's now learning a lot of it, which is kind of fucking cool. It's kind of cool to be on the other end and just listen to what they teach undergrads, because they really teach such bullshit to undergrads. It makes me laugh really hard.
yeah.
Because not that it's bullshit, but it's just really oversimplified and not where the field is at all. Not at all, but it's just like, that's the thing, is like undergrad education usually lags about 5 years behind. Because like at the forefront, crazy shit is happening.
Yeah. I don't know. Engineering is a weird major. At least when I look at like an arts and science curriculum, like a chemistry major, like my curriculum was I had like no electives to speak of whatsoever. I think I got to choose like 4 classes. And that was about it. But there is such a focus on procedure and discipline.
What happened to the piss bottle prophet?
I don't know.
Maybe he had to take a piss.
Maybe.
I kicked him
Why?
because
Oh, look. Look who entered.
What a strange happenstance.
Yeah, what an odd occurrence.
Hey guys, what's going on?
Hey, Dragon.
Hey, how are
You
water
just
bottles?
missed what I could. You only assume Rocket Ronnie.
Did anybody catch what Soccer said?
Is that just me or
barely
did it
caught
cut
any
out?
of it.
Taka, we can't hear you.
Oh well, Soccer's trying to figure out Canadian internet. I see that there's one more minority in here. How you doing, Jim?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing all right.
What minority is Jim? Catholic's not a
Retard.
minority, right?
I was going to say retard, but I mean, avid gun owner works too.
Oh, fair enough.
I thought you meant army.
Yeah, retard.
And then, and then I thought also, I thought you meant so real.
Yeah, that's what I was like, wait a second.
Obvious misdirection is obvious. What's
Yes.
going on, real?
The reel's been quiet for a bit.
He's been okay. I was gonna say he's the only guy in the group that I don't have his, because I have Faithful's number and I have GCon's number, and I've had really good. I was like, oh shit, because they kept mentioning Surreal. I was like, I've yet to talk to Surreal offline. Oh,
Surreal, are you there?
Guessing his cooking may have taken him elsewhere.
I don't know.
well, he's probably was gonna say he's probably getting messages like me that G-Man's losing his shit over somewhere.
Oh yeah, no, we were watching it for a little bit there. Ooh, wow.
What's going on? What's going on now?
Oh, G-Man was going nuclear on R and Raw over at Steve McRae's channel.
Yeah, someone sent me a message asking me what the keyword or phrase is to turn him off.
Oh, was G-Man in the Hangout with Arn Raw?
He's in there. I mean, at least as of 11:40ish, 11:50ish, he was still in there.
Oh wow!
They were having the after show of the Cantovan R and Raw event.
How did that go? I might watch it later.
I didn't get to see it.
I have a prediction. My prediction is that Kenthoven said the same thing that he always says, and R and Raw came back with some version of what he always says.
I heard that R and Raw was good about not trying to steamroll.
Really?
Yeah, apparently he paced himself
cool.
a bit better than he often does.
At least he's making progress. Say the same for Hogan.
Huh. I'm impressed.
That's cool. I remember there is I think it was a Magic Sandwich show, or it might have been the Line Go show, like years ago, where Arn Raw, where Arn Raw was. I think he was overseas or something like that. He was in a hotel or something like that, but his voice
Magic
was gone.
Sandwich show. Yeah.
He was in Australia, I think, but like he was they were outside and they're talking with some of the protesters there, and he lost his voice and he was arguing, and I think it was with a Nephilim Free or somebody, but he couldn't do anything because like whenever he tried talking, his voice was just cracking and he was trying to like talk loudly, but it was really bad.
I think it was actually with Eric Hovind and Site 10.
That's it.
That was the same hangout where Thunderfoot thought he was clever by saying, "The ghost who never lies."
Yeah.
That was painful.
Oh man, that was fuck. How long ago was that?
It must have been 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, at least 4 years ago. At least. Because that was before
4 years and 17 children ago for Jim.
16.
Neck is killing me.
Your neck is killing you, huh? You know my
Hey
mic's
man,
on, right?
I'm getting laid.
You should add Mrs. Drag to the hangout.
She's laying next to me. She can hear you.
But so the real question is Mrs. Drag as hot as Ronnie's girlfriend?
Oh God.
Sorry.
So I'll say this. My wife looks better than Ronnie. That's the answer to that question.
Wait a minute, Ronnie has a girlfriend? When did that happen?
Drag, you explain, because I can't stop laughing right now.
He doesn't have a...
No.
Oh, everybody got wiped out.
Wow.
Phonequake?
Yep.
Most likely.
Yeah,
Phonequake. Fucking... So Ronnie's claiming that he was discussing all of the G Plus drama with his girlfriend. Like he just kind of mentions it casually the other night, and then people go, "Whoa, what? Ronnie has a girlfriend?" And this mysterious girlfriend was evidently very amused by the tales he was telling, and so basically everyone's like, Ronnie doesn't have a girlfriend. He made his girlfriend up to make himself sound cool for whatever reason. And now this mysterious girlfriend is going to be appearing regularly in future conversations.
Well, I'm curious to know if he's got a girlfriend and Drag's got a degree. What's going on here?
Well, obviously, my degree is real, and his girlfriend is his hand.
Like, I do have to wonder, does he swap lipstick with his girlfriend? Is that why is Scott gone full chipmunk again? Or is that just me?
Scott, can you mute for a minute? Yeah.
What I
Scott,
want to
think
know
you need
is
to refresh again.
Refresh, Scott.
Who do you think has who do you think has nicer hair, Ronnie or his girlfriend?
Roddy's got
That's
a
a
lot
good
of
question.
split ends.
Really? I you know.
how hairy are his palms?
You're still chickmunking.
Scott, you're still full chipmunk.
Yeah, you might need to. If you were a computer engineer or something like that, you might be able to fix this.
Well, Drag, I think that both of us are just jealous. We don't have Ronnie's luxurious hair. We don't have his smoking hot girlfriend. Our dads can't bench press 500 pounds. I mean,
And he has talent.
And he has talent. We don't have any talent. So
Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. I mean, it's not like I could just lay here and have sex and play PlayStation and think about my future, in the cancer industry
at the same time.
at the same damn time.
How am I now?
much better. You are not Alvin anymore.
There
Yeah,
we go.
what did you do? That's
I
dramatically
switched
better.
from my microphone to my headset.
Oh, well, that works. Yeah, I'm just holding up my phone. I'm hoping my camera didn't come on because I'm kind of naked right now. So
No, you're good.
Okay.
But
turn
Drag,
that camera on.
Can your dad bench press 500 pounds?
My biological father, the 60-something-year-old man in Lancaster, California, could probably bench press maybe half of that. My stepfather, fuck no, he's just old. Like, he's Vietnam vet, crippled, fucking. But he's in good shape. But he cannot bench press, not even 200 pounds.
My dad, I don't think my dad could bench press over one plate.
Hell, I can bench press 500 pounds all at once. That's another story.
Just take it fractions.
Yeah, it's like oh man, I can do probably about 2 maybe 300 push-ups. I mean, I'm probably about that now in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, all you would have to do is go on that TV show, My 600-Pound Life. If you can lift up one of them, you could beat Ronnie's dad.
I actually did 300 push-ups in one setting once. That was fucking awful.
Was it voluntary or involuntary?
Oh, it was voluntary. I was leaving Afghanistan, and at the time I was really into CrossFit. We were doing Fran as a going away workout for my group. And if you're not unfamiliar with Fran, it's a mile run, 300 push-ups, or no, sorry, it was 300 squats, 200 push-ups, and 100 pull-ups, and then another mile run.
Yeah, that sounds like some infantry shit. Yeah, I'm with headquarters. We don't do that.
I'm with the Navy.
So
Yeah, we just go port to port and bang horse. It's a much different life.
so
Hey, was any
take
me
a
about
look at
45 minutes.
Take a look at my feed. I found this when I was playing Borderlands, the pre-sequel, the other day. Just look at the name in the quest description.
Needs some help finding a lost friend. The difficulty is normal.
Oddly reminds me of MK.
Who?
Michael Klein.
Oh. No. Who reminds you of MK?
This guy. Was it Peapod?
Peapod. Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah. No, I mean
That's the whole thing. It's MK.
him and that jackass who was Piss Bottle Prophet.
I don't know who that is.
Like Cornholio.
That freaking guy.
Sounds more like fucking like Preet's brother.
I've not met Preet's brother. Does she have a brother?
I might be Piss Bottle Prophet.
No, there's somebody who used to be cool.
Preet is a beautiful woman.
Yes, I completely agree.
Really?
Needs
What
to
does she
do
look
her-
like?
Voice.
She's actually pretty cute, but she just needs to never speak ever again.
Can you send me a picture over Facebook, Drag?
To find one.
Is she still going on about Pizzagate?
Yeah.
She did interview on with what's his name?
Bert,
Oh my
but he
god,
hit it.
Bert Poole.
He hit it. He that's one of his interviews that he hit. I think he took it off.
Oh really?
Yeah, because that was before she went full conspiracy theorist, and when she went full conspiracy theorist, he went.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because she was really heavy. She was really heavy into that Pizzagate shit.
Oh yeah,
Pizzagate is a deader meme than Bernie Sanders, man.
He's gonna be running again in 2020, apparently.
I was hoping it'd be Oprah.
Like, we don't want a president that opens up hard candies at random times. I know old Jews, and I know old Brooklyn Jews. And that's just not a pleasant person to have in the White House. My dad is he's from Bensonhurst, Brooklyn. He's Jewish. Obviously, both my parents are. They're not religious, but my grandparents, obviously Brooklyn Jews. And I was like, I don't want that in the White House.
Yeah, and by 2020, I think he's going to be like 78 or 79 years old.
Yeah,
it's pretty old, you know. I think that
we've had a lot of old presidents, though. That's not uncommon.
He'd be the
I know, but
he would be the oldest.
No,
like how old do you have to be president? Isn't it like 35?
Yeah, but Obama was ridiculously young. I think he was the second youngest president.
Yeah,
how many 35-year-olds
JFK.
I just think that you guys should elect a 35-year-old as president.
I did love back in 2016. Jonathan Pye put out a video, and he's like, "It's kind of ironic that the last hope for the left in the United States looks like The Walking Dead," referring to Bernie Sanders.
I don't want a president who bitches about ATM fees. That's like I know, like I'm just imagining for some reason that Bernie Sanders is exactly like my grandfather because they have the same accent. Or I mean, my grandfather has passed, but he has the exact same accent.
Oh man, could you imagine if that was if that was one of the platforms he ran on?
How can you anti-Semitic? Like I'm just always reminded that one. You got me bagels? There's no cream cheese. There's no lox. What do you think? I got cream cheese. I got lox all the time. Like what? And I just imagine like I feel like Bernie Sanders would show up to like a meeting in the White House and there'd be a mustard stain on his tie or some shit. Just some real old Jewish man shit. Like he wears New Balances with his suit.
New Balances. Yes.
I'm just riffing on things that old Jews do and just know like I'm fucking killing in my book, but
no one can comment
for
obvious reasons.
Because god damn, Preet is good looking.
I'm just gonna nod and smile like every time I make a black joke and there's a lot of white people around. They don't want to say anything.
You can say it.
Yeah, I told you, Preet's a very good-looking lady. She's just a little bit wacky on her conspiracy theories.
Yeah, Sam, I sent you a screenshot.
I did see that.
Yeah, she's pretty in the face.
It's kind of like saying G-Man's excitable there, Spackle.
Yeah, I just like her voice. I never. There's never a time I would want to hear her voice ever. I mean, I'm not, and there's not a nice way for me to say that. Like her voice just physically causes me pain. So if it was like a shriek of terror, or her telling me the weather, or her screaming dead babies, like I just don't want to hear her at all, ever.
Like Fran Drescher.
Yeah. Oh God. You know, she's tolerable, but after a while, it's like I understand where that stereotype of Jewish women comes from. Like just from her alone, I see it or hear it.
Yeah, that's why there are among Jewish guys you find, and especially because Jewish mothers are very needy. Like you find that there are Jewish guys that love dating Jewish girls, and then Jewish guys like me who really don't date Jewish girls very often. Or if I do, it's because they will.
I mean, if there's an off button you know of that we don't, I mean, shit, secret.
There is not an off button when it comes to to Jewish women. They are just bitchier and more self-righteous.
I had a friend of mine that dated a Jewish girl for a while, for about 2 years, and over the progression of that 2 years, he became like the complete different person. He started off, he's a really good, like, happy-go-lucky guy. By the time he was done, like he was fucking defeated. Like she drained the life out of him.
That's why I don't date Jewish guys or Jewish girls. Sorry.
I'm
a Jewish guy that doesn't date Jewish girls. I also don't.
Wait, so you do date Jewish guys?
Of course, many times.
But I have to put in the random disclaimer here that it's that I don't think it was because she was Jewish. I think it was just because she was a really angry person as overall.
Yeah.
The two have been known to be correlated.
Hey,
I didn't say that. I did not say that.
I did. The Jew said it. Don't worry. The Jew said the most anti-Semitic shit in this hangout.
Hey, Saka. When did you meet my dad?
What?
Because that relationship you were describing reminds me of my father.
Is your dad Jewish?
Oh.
No, but my mom sucked the life out of him.
Well, the whole thing is that another phone quake.
Phone quake.
I was gonna say it's like if you're gonna date a Jewish girl, there's got to be a certain amount where you're just able to tune out while they're talking, because they'll bitch about something where they're completely in the wrong. Because Jewish people, what we do is we will bitch. We will just bitch for the sake of bitching. Like,
have you met my mother-in-law? Like that literally sound. Isn't that what your mom does? She just talks into the aether, like no one's listening to her, and she just talks incessantly. And when people ignore her, she talks more. So,
Hang on.
I'm not going
Hang on, I have a lady of a Jewish background that's asking it to join to defend her species.
Uh-oh, it's on. I'm letting the Jews duke it out.
Here's a fun one. When we talk about dealing with parents, is that my dad is a little bit superstitious, and I guess sometime last year before his last birthday, he had a dream that he wasn't going to see his next birthday. And so, and apparently it's a repeating dream. He's had it a couple times. So his birthday is like in 2 weeks. And he is, at this point in time, he's convinced that he's probably going to die sometime in the next 2 weeks. So whenever, like, we're talking and stuff, like, he's like, oh, hey, you want to go see Black Panther this weekend? Bring the grandkids, everything, whatever, go see them, like, see a movie. I'm like, yeah, sure. That sounds good. Yeah, it's probably going to be my last. Oh, for fuck's sake. Stop it.
You know what you need to do is like start leaving steak knives outside his door and stuff like that.
And just watch all the Final Destinations.
Well, that's what I said. Is like, because the part of it is he's going to die, and he's going to die alone. So wherever he's going to be alone. So whenever he goes off somewhere, like I was over at my parents' place there a couple days ago because I was fixing something, and he got up to go grab something out of the garage, and I'm like, oh, do you want someone to go with you so you don't die? And I find it funny because I joke about it all the time. I probably cracked a few too many jokes right now because my mom is starting to find it less and less funny every single time.
Just get that will updated.
Yeah, I'm supposed to stop encouraging my father to go off somewhere and die. So I say because he's got this premonition, and it reminds. I'm trying to remember what movie it was where it's they were talking about how dogs know when they're going to die and they go crawl under the porch. I think it was Donnie Darko. So I keep on joking around about my dad going to crawl under the porch sometime.
Drag, do you want an example of a Jewish person bitching for the sake of bitching?
Sure.
My dad is complaining about his new job.
What? Come on. Wait.
Like, he's like, oh,
the one that we just spoke about.
And it's my dad got his dream job. And he had to switch law firms for the second time in a year, but this new law firm is fucking awesome regarding his practice. And Drag knows a few more of the details. But he's been bitching about the transitional period.
I don't know what to say. Like, he He's probably making more money than I'll see in the next 10 years. But I'm gonna have to take your word on that.
You and me both, man. You and me both.
Yeah.
It's what I say, man. I know my people. Like I don't need a president who bitches about ATM fees. That's what I said. I joke. I would love Bernie as a president. Like I think he'd be a really good president.
His son just ran for Congress, or is running for Congress. I read that somewhere. I forgot where. It was like Yahoo News.
Now the question is, will he be the Rand Paul to Bernie Sanders' Ron Paul?
Well, it depends. I think that Jewish fathers kind of keep their Jewish sons very, very close, and if they fuck up, they know a secret word to turn them into the Manchurian Candidate.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't even know what that means.
No, that sounds like more of a Jewish mother thing.
Is that a mother thing? Okay.
Jewish fathers are passive aggressively controlling. Jewish mothers are aggressively controlling.
Just to be absolutely clear, I don't even know what that analogy would mean.
What, the Manchurian Candidate?
Like what would be the Bernie Sanders equivalent of Rand Paul to his Ron Paul? I don't know what that would be.
A guy that makes sure that he gets capers and his bagel, cream cheese, and lox.
Could be.
He bitches about bank account balance rather than the ATM fees.
Yeah, I don't know. I joke. I
bang
joke.
on about cryptocurrency all day.
Oh my god!
That
Be the fuck boy who talks about cryptocurrency. Like
you know what? I don't mind like people that do cryptocurrency. That's fine. That's their thing. But that's like one of those few topics that I'll jump into a room and be like, "Oh, what are you guys talking about? Bitcoin? Fuck off! I'm gone."
It's like talking to potheads when you're in 8th grade. It's the exact same conversation.
Yep.
Hey man, you don't know how awesome it is, man. I've discovered this just fucking secret that makes life awesome, man.
Some of the funniest conversations I've been having with JD over the last 2 weeks is over cryptocurrency. So fuck y'all.
I know he's getting into it now, isn't he?
Oh, he's getting into it, all right. That's how much good he just lost.
Oh yeah. It's funny. My brother was weeping because he was trying to buy. He wanted to get himself a 1080 GTX, and the price of the 1080 GTX are so exorbitant right now because everyone's building Bitcoin miners.
Yep, they jacked up the prices because they know.
Oh yeah, like almost double what was already a really expensive card.
So crazy GMan went live. His hangout's called.
You could just say GMan. I mean, that's a bit redundant, isn't it?
He says, warning, atheists are using Christians for views and to make money.
Wait, so he jumps on Steve's fucking channel where Arn Raw and Ken Hovind are just on there, but then people are using him because he wanted to get on there.
Yeah, he might be referring to Ken Hovind too, but that's providing that he could think about somebody other than himself.
You're assuming way too much of his mental capabilities.
He's thinking about himself. Sorry.
All right, this dude. He called me like 6 times last night.
Oh yeah.
What is he? An angry ex?
So I was playing some of his shitty raps, and I was making commentary on how he has no flow. His hooks also sound like the fucking chorus, and I can't tell the difference. Like I'm giving critiques as I'm playing Monster Hunter, and he's called, "Hey, you need to stop playing my rap right now." I was like, "Well, this is the most attention that they've gotten in like months, so you should be happy." And evidently, I was supposed to put stuff in the description. I was like, "Yeah, I'm not going to do that. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. Yeah, that's okay. Thanks, appreciate it. I'm just warning you. I can flag you." I was like, "You can also eat a dick," but yeah. So I went ahead and unlisted it. He deleted that video because he got all pissy about it. So every time he makes a bitching video, I'll play games or something, and I'll just talk about that. It throws him into a tizzy for some reason.
Did you tell him that you were going to bust a dragnet on him?
I keep making that joke. Have you said that? I know you.
I have said it. I'll just say I've said it tonight in a very inopportune moment. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I can say.
Inopportune for whom?
Oh my
Is it
gosh.
inopportune for you or for her?
I cannot answer that question.
It's definitely for her. That was a for her as fuck answer that you just gave.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine that, like, in the moment, he's like, I'm gonna bust a drag knot. Just, like, ruined.
I'm not going to speak to the accuracy of what Holy Spackle just described.
Ruiner. Ruiner. Poor Mrs. Drag. Mrs. Drag, I'm so sorry.
It's fun sometimes just to say, like, really weird things at the most inopportune times. Like, when things are about to get intimate there, and you whisper in your significant other's ear, do me like a gazelle.
Or freaking Jim's like, here comes number 19.
How does 27 feel?
I just call her by her sister's name.
Nice.
I was thinking about doing that because I showed my wife. There's a friend of ours online who had a dream that she became like the third wheel in the Dragnot household, and so she was Mrs. Drag Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Mrs. Drag was like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And so I was thinking about calling out her name, but I was like, no, too soon. No, that's too soon. That would have gotten me hurt. No.
That's
and now I'm getting stares. I love you, dear.
I hope she hit you.
Yeah, I hope you got
Speaking of my wife and I. Like, she was really, really sick during the pregnancy, right? We're in the doctor's office for a checkup, and she's complaining about pain and everything. She kind of gives me this helpless look, and I say, "Hey, babe, I wanted to stick it in your ass. You said it would hurt too much."
Oh, man.
So all this Jewish woman talk has summoned Gretchen.
Hey, Gretchen.
Haven't seen you in a while.
You said what? You said what?
There's having a flashback.
Stutter.
Man, that's good. I actually feel ashamed of myself right now. How do you do that?
You have to born a kid, and then after you born a kid, you gain those like vocal abilities.
I like how Sam went quiet.
I didn't see. This is my reflex. Is if a Jewish woman flips out, I just shut the fuck up.
You know that you did something wrong.
I didn't do anything wrong.
Conditioned. Oh man.
Because I know it's a fight I
like
can't.
call retrograde.
It's the def. Even if I win an argument with a Jewish woman who's upset, it's a Pyrrhic victory.
You know that? Has anybody here ever seen like the Wedding Planner movie?
With J-Lo?
Yeah, with J-Lo, yeah.
I have this thing that prevents me from seeing that movie.
Well, she plays like a person who's like very persnickety and very precise, and
Someone's supposed to ask what was that thing, and I was going to say a penis.
Oh, we knew. We all knew.
Oh, okay.
anyways, I can't. I don't know what you said. So anyway, she plays like this person who's like very, I don't know, detail oriented, and she sort of like keeps all her ducks in a row and everything, and she keeps everybody sort of like at a distance. She locks herself out of her house, and she's like explaining that to, I guess it's Matthew McConaughey. Is that who that is?
Was he the love interest in that movie?
Yes.
I think
Barely.
so.
I don't even know if I saw it.
Yeah. I don't remember why I was referring to that. Forget it. Oh well.
Don't fucking ask me. I am 2 home pours of scotch in right now.
Oh my goodness.
I am well outside my normal operating hours, so I'm a bit punch drunk myself.
And I'm just almost drunk.
It's Friday.
Yeah.
Time is here.
I'm not alone if I'm in a hangout.
That's right.
Still social drinking.
There you go.
No, I have to get surgery in a week, so I'm kind of
Oh.
bummed out.
Oh, I'm sorry.
For the toe. For the toe.
Yeah. Someone is echoing.
It's probably me.
Echo.
Drink now or forever hold your peace sort of thing.
It's just sort of like I'm kind of bummed out about it. So I'm like, you know what? My friend Joe bought me this really nice scotch for taking care of his dog. Drag, do you remember the pictures that I texted you of that random dog in September?
Yeah.
It's
I think you were over at a friend's house for a wedding, weren't you?
No, I was just at their house dog sitting. Because I'm a good friend.
That's a good friend.
And that dog is, let me see if I can screen share a photo of her. I don't think I have any on my phone. And I'm not scrolling. Or I have them all on my phone.
You'd be scrolling like months.
Yeah, I don't know how I would screen share. They're on my phone. I'm going to send one to you now so then I can screen share it.
All right. Because I'm about to say, I can't screen share because I'm in the room.
Hey, Jim. I was thinking about this the other day. Is that so? Like my wife and I, we were redoing like the pictures in our house, and we we're printing out pictures of the kids and everything to put up. And we have a bunch from our first, like a huge amount of pictures from our first kid. Slightly less from our second, and well, obviously our newest one. Not that many. I'm just wondering, like, once you get to like kid 26, do you like just take like a birth picture and let's just forget about it?
Fuck you.
There's actually a phenomenon about that.
Our youngest is lucky to even have her ultrasound pictures, man.
Yeah, I've heard that the middle one is the one who has the least amount. That's often how a person can tell.
So luckily Jackie's not in here.
Yeah, that'd be me. I was the middle child.
Scott, you're a middle child?
Yep.
They're usually the hardest working and least acknowledged sibling. That's the stereotype.
In my family.
Scott, are you also a Capricorn?
No.
Oh, okay. Good.
Fucking Pisces.
That's a typical Gemini thing to say.
Yeah, no, dude, fuck all of you. I live in California. So does Deirdre. You know it's real. God damn. Do you know how many dates I've been on where I've been with a girl and she's been like, yeah, you're such a Scorpio. And I'm like, do you realize that when my parents fucked has nothing to do with anything? Like what?
I just want to point out that I too am a Scorpio.
Oh God! Look, I thought
that's such a Scorpio thing to say.
That shit was fake, and people didn't like. Only a few people paid attention to it. There's like a cult following of woo-woo shit in California. I don't know what it is, and there's a friend of mine who lives in California.
What happens when you don't have to deal with the cold, Track?
Dude, she invited me to a Facebook group where there are women who are casting spells over Facebook. They're melting candles and putting tea leaves in a fucking saucer, and fucking trying to cast bad juju on ex-boyfriends and shit.
I went on a date with a girl who has a dog that she takes on planes as a therapy dog. Now, I don't believe in that shit, and there's no evidence behind it.
Is she a veteran?
No. She's that's the girl that I'm having Kevin terrorize. I mean, I'm allegedly having Kevin terrorize.
So why does she need a therapy dog? What the hell happened to her?
She was born in the Bay Area, and she's a fucking psycho. This is the girl that ditched me 3 times, and I still went out with her.
Oh. Hey, fool me once.
Shame on you. Fool me twice. Shame on me. Fool me thrice. Well, I really just had nothing better to do that day.
Wow,
That's why I live with it hurts my face, man. People are not that weird.
It's fucking... Dude, like, it's one of those things about dating in California that I don't like. Because, like, there's some beautiful people here, but, man, they are fucking dumb as rocks.
They're special. There's a special breed of people in California, and I don't know how to describe them because there's a distinct difference. And someone corrected me on this years ago. There's a distinct difference between North California and South California.
Hey now, I just want to say, as a Southern Californian, we're not that bad. Like, not everyone's lyrical.
You've never lived outside of Southern California, and you have no perspective.
I've traveled in NorCal, and
Hashtag
NorCal's...
not all Southern Californians.
No,
Yeah.
there's some crappy people in NorCal.
It's a different type of garbage. It's just no, I'm kidding. No, I mean I'm obviously exaggerating for effect, but in all honesty, it's a very different dating culture from like the Northeast. Like I kind of like the Northeast dating culture, but like I also think that girls from California are generally better looking, and so it's a
The
battle.
Northeast. The Northeast produces a harsh people.
Yes, it does.
If you want to call them that, yeah, I just say the fucking gene pool is a little smaller than everywhere else.
I think people are flaky in California. We just are, even as friends.
They're flaky. They believe in astrology.
I don't know really anybody that actually believes in astrology. Not really.
Apparently all of them are going on dates with me. Jesus Christ.
Oh, I think it's funny. Like, I like to joke with people and be like, I'm a Scorpio, stay away from me. But I don't really care.
I don't even know what my like astrological sign even dictates. Like I know I'm a Virgo, and that's it.
That means that you're very detail oriented.
Well, I'm trying to be a scientist and been in the
There's
military.
nothing Virgo about you, and you know it.
I don't even know what that means.
Virgo is the virgin.
Yeah.
Virgo. Oh, it is a version. Oh God, no. I
There's
literally
there's a porn star with the name Virgo, so that's hilarious.
Well, but that's obviously, ironic.
Yeah.
Did you guys? Speaking of which, did you guys hear Mia Khalifa quit?
Yeah, that like happened years ago.
Oh yeah. Well, she can't take penis. So I mean, I saw that coming. No pun intended.
LOL.
Speaking of which, Matt Slick's daughter.
Whoa. Yeah.
If you're a pornosaur, if you will, I just recommend that's worth it as a Google.
Don't.
Yeah, she's a nice girl. She is interesting. We'll say that. I've seen some interesting stuff on stuff.
Who's his daughter?
Let's be somewhat kind to him and not.
No, there's nothing. It is reflective of her actions and her body, and not him.
She wears a horse head.
Yes, she does wear a horse head in one of those videos.
And the other one, she looks like a mime.
I don't know what she's thinking.
Her blog made me want to shoot myself.
She's just weird. Like it's not even sexual. She's just weird shit.
She's just an odd girl.
It's because she's like, look at me, I'm a rebel. I'm an atheist,
I guess.
so this is what atheists do. I'm atheist all over your face.
I read her blog post talking about taking LSD every day for like a year.
Yeah, right.
And that was a journey.
A lot.
I just want you to know that she is not from California, and this is what happens when you're in a flyover state.
That is not. No, you do meth and you fuck your cousin. That's what happens.
Or you dodge tornadoes.
Oh, I would still meet her. I think she's just weird enough to not completely weird me out, and I think I'd find her fascinating just as a person.
Just your own personal anthropological experiment unfolding in front of your face.
Basically, well,
yeah, I thought you were studying the hard sciences and not psychology.
Is there anybody that's too low for you to go?
Preet, lyrical.
Oh God!
I can name a few.
Ugh.
Yeah, I could name a few.
I have no desire to meet Lyrical because I know where she wants that to end, and I don't want that to end at the same place she wants it to.
Does she like you?
She likes
likes
everyone. Yeah.
You know
think
what?
I've seen her say no.
You know what? I bet you money she wouldn't make a move on me.
Really?
I bet you anything.
Why is I want to hear this, please?
What's the theory behind this one?
Yeah, what's your get out of jail free card? I don't understand.
It's actually quite simple. I have chatted with her in Hangouts many a time. She talks to me like a little brother. The brainiac little brother, but the little brother.
I'm
familiar with this. Women don't come sniffing around my tree.
That's hilarious.
Not that I'm exactly looking for it, but it doesn't happen. My wife claims I'm oblivious. I disagree.
We better hope she doesn't have a taste for insects one day.
Hey, you put the family to the test.
Oh, God. Oh, I thought you were referring to my wife, and I got really confused for a second.
No.
See, here's the thing: is I don't believe 1 second that anything you just said would phase Lyrical. And based upon that laugh,
possible.
I have some agreement.
It's entirely possible, but I can tell you that I have even been in Hangouts that have ended up with people trickling out to the point where it's just her and I chatting, and there was no flirting. I've never gotten any kind of message. I'm telling you, she ain't interested.
Maybe we can distill whatever it is that you have and then use it as a repellent.
Okay, I kid you guys not. My best friend and I, back in college, went to the local mall and were walking around because we were in college and we were bored. And it was incredible. As long as I was with him, everyone steered clear. But as soon as I would walk off to go do something, all of the goth girls in the mall would just seek him out and would latch on. But if I was around, they stay right away.
Are you guys the same height?
Roughly.
Oh.
I've got about at that time I probably had almost 100 pounds on him.
They probably thought you guys were gay.
Well, they wouldn't be the first.
Yeah, because I used to walk around with my cousin all the time, and if you see my Facebook, you see that we somewhat resemble each other, except I'm more of a caramel and he's more of a dark chocolate. But people, we figured out later, people thought we were gay.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, well, people who didn't go to our school, we went to the fair in Raleigh, North Carolina, together. Instead of going to school, we said fuck it. So we just walked together and just be buddy, and we're like, oh shit, these women are kind of pointing and looking, and they're like, oh shit, they think we're a couple.
You see,
is that the blue cousin?
Huh? The blue, yeah. Yeah, it's the the seaman. Actually, getting off work. Yeah,
it's actually funny. So the difference in physique between my best friend and I is very similar to the difference in physique between my brother and I. So growing up, even though technically we were 2 years apart, which you think would show pretty substantially as kids, a lot of people are like, are you guys twins?
Yeah, that sort of thing happened with my little brother. My second and third little brother are similar in build. His one's just really skinny, even though he's older, and so people thought they were twins for the longest.
And then by the time I got to college, then it flipped the other way, much to my brother's chagrin, where they're like, "Is that your older brother?" When I would come home from school.
People mistake my 6th and my 42nd as twins all the time.
I love how awesome of a sense of humor Jim has about it, and every time we make a joke, he makes it as if he has more kids.
He probably gets
I'm well past the point of caring, man. It's just like I got a fuck ton of kids. I get it. You can't do anything to hurt my feelings more than my kids have already done to hurt them. So whatever.
Yeah, well, that's a parent thing. Like no one. If you don't have kids, you really can't understand. Kids will hurt your fucking feelings. You're like, I'm an adult. I pay bills. I pay taxes. The fucking child hurt my feelings. All a child has to say is, just look you dead in the fucking eye and go, your breath really stinks, and then just walk away. That's it. Like it's little shit like that just hurts you because it's this little person who has no malice. They know nothing of the greater world. They just know the truth. They know what they observe. And you go, you know what? Fuck you.
One of the worst was I was sitting there one day. My son comes up to me and says, "Dad, when did you get fat?" See? I'm like, you little bastard. You sleep outside tonight.
And you can just imagine just choke slapping him so easily.
So I remember one of my cousins when he was a little kid looks at my grandmother one day who, she'd had both knees replaced at that point and she battles her weight, so she's not moving too great. And he's like, Meme, you walk like a penguin.
Oh, dude, my mother still never lets me live down the story when I was an infant, and she took me to the grocery store, and I think it was some lady that she knew, and this lady was very, very, very darkly pigmented, and then she pointed to the lady and said, "Hey, tell her hi," and I looked dead at that lady and threw the fuck up. She still never lets me live that down.
Wow.
That's pretty awesome.
I think probably my best one that I remember from a kid is one time I just went up to my dad. I'm like, "Hey, Dad, isn't smoking bad for you?" And he's like, "Yeah." "Then why do you still do it?" 3 years old. Asking the big questions.
Yeah, my kid came up to me last year, because I was smoking a cigar on the front porch. And my kid comes up to me and is like, "Dad, you're going to get cancer." I'm like, "Fuck off." Like, you taking my motorcycle, you took my boat, you took my sports car. Don't you dare take my cigars.
This is why Daddy drinks.
Oh, yes. It's actually kind of funny now because, like, my kids have been asking me about alcohol. Like, "Dad, why do you drink so much beer?"
Because of you. Yeah, my wife doesn't like when I like to give my son a sip, just like a little sip of like a little beer, because I know he doesn't like it, and so I just started doing it around my mother-in-law because she freaks the fuck out, like he's gonna pass the fuck out and die instantly, and so if I have like maybe a little daiquiri or something, it's like, here you go. No, don't do it. No, it's like, his liver will not explode, I promise. See, look, he doesn't even like it, and so yeah, I get back at my in-laws. Just every little bit counts.
See,
You know what it's all.
and then meanwhile in my family, I take my kids over to my grandmother's place, and she's just like, "Oh, he's got a little bit of a cough. Here, let me get some medicine." And she goes for the bottle of Jägermeister.
There we go.
God, for a cough?
That's some good medicine.
Jägermeister is a medicine for lack of self-esteem, but it's not.
In Germany, it's a medicine apparently.
I will ask my German lab mates about that one.
Yeah.
So growing up, admittedly, my parents
and hold on, and Sam, when you do that, get back to me on that, because I think my grandma's full of shit too, and she's just trying to hide the fact she's an alcoholic.
Yeah, I'm fairly sure because we have 2 Germans in our lab, but Germans fucking love Jaeger in a way that just doesn't make sense. Like, I went to a bar once with my friend this guy has a PhD in physics. I'm just going to reiterate that. He has a PhD in experimental physics, and he bought 18 shots of Jaeger in one night at a bar for 3 people. For me, and him, and his roommate. It's like those Germans do not fuck around when it comes to Jaeger. Good Lord.
Oh, that sounds like when my best friend finished his doctorate program, he went out drinking with his class. And then the next morning, he's looking at his bank account and he sees a $200 single charge from the bar the night before. And he's like, how could I have drank that much? I would be dead. And then he sees a picture on his phone of him and every girl at the bar holding a shot.
Oh God!
Oh
And he's
boy.
like,
If you
oh, there it is.
if you go on the Dragnot
and
Facebook,
it only cost them $200. What were there, like 3 girls in there?
This is a bar in Connecticut, Sokka.
Yeah, I was also going to say we might be talking about the same bar, Scott.
Oh, shit.
There is a very good chance we're talking about the exact same bar. Is it in Middletown?
No. This would have been closer to Hartford.
Okay, well, the bar in Middletown, I don't remember the name of it. but
Eli
there were a lot of-
Cannons?
It was not Eli's. It was
Okay.
the more trashy, clubby one that had
Oh.
the whatever Middletown considers a Guido, a lot of there.
Oh, God. I don't know that one.
I could look it up right now.
I mean, like the prices in bars now is ridiculous. Like I when I turned 18, they still had 25-cent draft nights, and then that lasted for about 2 months. 2 months after I turned 18, that's when they got rid of it.
So, this wasn't originally the plan when I worked for my family's band, but it became a thing where I started having to work at the bar gigs as well. So, like, I was 15 or 16, maybe. And I was in bars most weekends. So, when it finally came time and I was turning 21, there just wasn't much excitement in it for me. Also, I had already had so many horror stories. Like the woman who was getting up there, but decided that, you know, she needed to let the girls breathe. So she just sort of peeled down her tube top and then kind of loosely had a jacket on, but you could clearly see her boobs dead in sight. And it's just, oh, Jesus, not what I need when I'm working. But you couldn't even look away because the space we were in was just all mirrors. So everywhere you looked, there she was.
were they at least nice to look at?
No, not particularly.
Oh God!
And come to find out, long before we knew each other, my best friend and his dad played that same bar with their band and had that same thing happen to them.
That's horrifying.
So we're getting the impression that she's a regular.
Just maybe. Just maybe. Yeah, there's
We used to go to this place when I was in high school. After I graduated high school, they used to run an amateur night, an amateur stripper night.
Oh.
And we used to go there every Tuesday because we just want to see, you know, how many former classmates were there.
Oh,
and they
gosh.
rewatch. It was fucking hilarious.
The only awkward former classmate experience I've ever had was when I went with my last company to a job fair representing my company. And one of my classmates was there who I had graduated with like 2 years ago, still looking for a job. And it's like, oh, hey, buddy. How's it going?
you needed a hookup.
I was surprised because, I mean, electrical engineering, it's not a booming field, but I would expect there to be work readily available. So I was a little surprised.
There's a picture on the Dragnot Facebook page of me with a bunch of folks at the bar, and someone took a picture of me while I was laughing and at a table. The backstory to that is I spent $120 on a bunch of combat medics and training, and I bought everyone beer and all types of other assorted alcohol all night. There was a redheaded gentleman there. I think, Sam, I told you this story. I tried to outdrink the one Irishman there. Did
Oh,
work
I
out very
remember
well.
this.
Yeah, did not work out very well at
Yeah, I
all.
outdrank Angry Pumpkin, so
I tried violently, but didn't work out at all.
an Angry Pumpkin puked in the Uber,
Ooh.
and I had to pay a bunch of money.
Ooh.
Oh, no one ever told you I wasn't a good host.
Jeez.
Wait, you've
Guilt of
hosted
guilt.
Angry Pumpkin and Realistic Nihilist?
What?
You've hosted Angry Pumpkin and Realistic Nihilist at
I
one
haven't
point?
hosted. I've been to when Realistic Nihilist was with his ex-wife. I stayed at their apartment.
He was married?
Oh, you didn't know that?
No.
Yeah, I was married before, but I think it was an immigrant. I'm not going to comment on whether or not that situation was involving foreign countries. I'll leave it at that. There's a lot of background noise on someone's end.
Oh shit, that's me. Sorry.
Sorry. And I stayed at Anti-Citizen X's, or I don't know if he still lives there, but his place in on the way to California. I've met a bunch of people.
Really, Anti-Citizen X?
Yeah, really
Oh,
nice
man.
guy. He's insanely smart.
He is probably one of my favorite YouTubers.
He is like he's very much like he's a really fun guy, and he's a real ass dude. Like I have been planning to go visit him at some point again. But he's a cool dude. He looks like his sketch of himself in this video a little bit. And then I've met Cheeky Vimto 08, and we drove across the country together. I've met Kevin and Jackie. I've met Hana. I've met MP. They're two of my favorite people ever. Like, man, MP he's a fucking riot, man. Like, if you're ever in New York, hit him up because he is a fantastic. I will, there are many things, maybe that you can say about him, but being a fantastic person, that is the one thing that I know for sure. Because so we went for dinner and he bought the first drink, and it was one of these. And like usually, I get skeptical hippo eyes around some big fruity like fruity drink, and this drink was really good. And this was at like that dinosaur barbecue that you described, Drag, which was really good.
Yeah,
it was delicious. And I was staying about 6 blocks away from there in Manhattan, and we walked back, and he was taking the train, so he goes, why don't we get a drink at the hotel bar? I was like, fuck yeah, let's get a drink. And we ended up like, it was what was supposed to be one drink ended up being closing out the bar.
Hey, Sam, how far away are you from San Diego?
0 miles.
Yeah, he's like down the freeway from me.
Oh.
I'm like a mile, or I'm like maybe 3 or 4 miles from the zoo.
Okay. No, because that's. Oh shit. Okay, cool.
And I'm like 2 miles away from you.
Yeah, San Diego is one of the places I go to relatively often. So
if people are ever in, like, I don't know, is MP like New York City area?
Yeah, he's NYC, but
okay,
I'll be in Connecticut in May for my 5th year reunion.
Oh, awesome!
So, let's definitely plan on getting, and I'll be in your area. So,
oh yeah, you will. I would imagine so.
So, as long as Wesley and as long as that college I went to gives me some free accommodations, I should be all set.
I freaking met Jackie Kevin, Tanya, of all people,
Hmm.
and Bert Poole.
What
That's-
happened to Tanya?
Oh,
Oh, boy.
Bert's an amazing host. Like
That's really cool.
he is so awesome. I still have a man crush on Bert. But he
hair.
was like when the hair, yeah, because I took my oldest to Disneyland when my sister, my niece, and my mother came along with me, and Bert.
And you're gone.
Quake. These are
there he
like
goes.
I think the highest frequency phone quakes that I've ever experienced.
Sorry about that. The
geez.
stupid quakes.
Yeah, no, I went with to Disneyland with my oldest and my my sister, my mother, and my niece. And Bert gave us the whole tour of his work there and took us around and was just an amazing host. But I've also met Max Hangout and Ozzy as well, and those guys are awesome too. Everybody that I've met, in real life from online has been just great.
You always have that nervousness, but sometimes like you just meet someone and it's like, oh shit, like this is exactly as we know each other. That was the way when I met Hana when she got into the hotel lobby. It was like because me and Hana have had a lot of talks and we're very good friends, and it was kind of crazy. Just the friendship just continued. It was the exact same thing, and it's so insane how that works, right?
Like Bert was cool. Like it was like it was really cool meeting Bert, and I was pretty. I felt pretty comfortable with Bert. Like Ozzy was kind of like like it was kind of surreal because it's fucking Ozzy. The guy's amazing. But the biggest surprise, Max Hangout, is like that one was like probably the most intimidating one.
Really?
Yeah, motherfucker's like 6'7".
Yeah, he's a giant.
I know. It surprises you that he's
yeah.
so tall, huh?
Yeah, you don't realize it because you always see him like sitting at the desk and stuff like that. But I was with my son at the time, my oldest, and we went out for lunch, and so I saw him just like where I was going to pick him up, and I see this guy just standing there. I'm just like, this guy is like fucking huge. Like I couldn't believe this. Like it really threw me off there for a bit.
So Ozzy is that tall?
No, Max things up.
Oh, Max. Wow, I would not imagine he's tall.
Yeah, when he
He's
stands
tall,
up.
yeah. I think he is the tallest out of everyone because Redline is actually maybe I think 2 inches taller than me, and I'm trying to remember who else comes really close. I think Cliff Jumper. Cliff Jumper I think is around the same height as Redline.
How tall are you, Drag?
I am 73 inches. That's 6'1".
Okay, so I'm 6'2".
The thing is, Max isn't skinny like we're a Redline, so he's actually solid.
Yeah, no, like
Redline put on a little bit of weight lately. I said a little bit of muscle.
Like Max, like I think Max could probably throw down. Like he's a big guy. Like he's sturdy built.
Maybe that's why he's more tolerable than a lot of people because he doesn't seem to be like compensating for a whole lot like some people.
Well, let's be honest. He's not as tough as Ronnie Stan.
No, I don't think he's like tough, but he's not.
He has a small man complex.
Yeah, he doesn't demand. Do you listen to me? Because it's me.
Yeah,
and he's reasonably soft spoken too. Like he doesn't. Not softly like always quiet, but you're right. He doesn't turn it up. He doesn't get to that aggressive stage too often. When he is having like a discussion.
And when he does, there's like a good reason. Like I was in a hangout with him fairly recently in Steve's hangout, and Brenda was in there. And I'm sorry, but Brenda is very uncharitable and awful. and I'm just biting my tongue listening to him play ping pong with Brenda, and Brenda's just awful.
One of the
Brenda.
best things I ever heard from Max was they were talking to a Muslim. I forget what his name was. And after a while, Max just got fed up with him. He's like, just be quiet, you silly Mohammedan.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, wow.
It's fighting voice.
Yeah, no, he has his breaking point.
Yeah, he used to go up against Arcane Logos, and that used to be pretty entertaining because you would see the limits of his charity and patience be stretched because Arcane, give his ass an inch, he'll take a fucking kilometer.
Yeah, eventually though, like it's so ridiculous that you want to make fun of him because it's like so out there that you're just like, yep, Indiana Jones and the Ark of the Covenant stuff.
It's funny, like with some people, like what was it recently? With all the G-Man drama, there was like that video the other day with Brother Jay, I think his name is.
Yes, Brother Jay, the most powerful voice on the channel from the Soldiers of God.
Yeah, but so he was in the hangout with G-Man. I was listening to him, and I'm just like, this guy sounds okay. And then he did the after hangout from that, and he was in the room with you and Faithful, and I think he was on camera there. And you see this guy sitting there, and he's got like the red room, like bass guitars, like lining the wall, like or whatever, like guitars all over the place. And I'm just like, it's like this guy's cool. I don't know who the fuck this guy is, but this guy's cool. I like this guy. There's just something about him. He's like you just. This guy's awesome. I don't know anything about this guy other than the fact that he's awesome.
Yeah, actually, Faithful and GCon both are actually pretty cool guys. I've been talking to them for the last few days. I haven't talked to them today, but they're just like they seem concerned about what's going on, and they're like generally empathetic towards the plight that G-Man is in. But it's like they did some soul searching. They seem like genuine people, which is, I guess, strange given all the posers and kooks and crazy people that we run across here on this weird corner of the internet.
No,
hey, this is the thing too. Like I was watching
that.
Oh, sorry.
Faithful's one of the few Christians that have tried to give me some sort of correction or rebuke or all these other Christianese words that I kind of roll my eyes at nowadays. But he was one of the few people that I actually took it well from because of his nature. His nature's like he seems authentic, and I know that people call him a Pharisee and stuff like that, but really what he's trying to do is rally behavior. He's saying, if you are a Christian, please meet these, this is the behavior and standard that we were supposed to, go by. And so he does look at his own camp and say, walk the walk. And, but he does it in a way that I don't think is actually that bad compared to other people. Like he doesn't relish the idea of smacking down and accusing someone as a non-Christian. That's not what he's doing.
And I was thinking about this too, like because like listening to like GCon and Faithful to God and the Brother Jay and like some of these other guys recently, Sister Cherry and shit. And I realized that I've talked to GCon before, and it's I don't think it was heated, but I think that it probably was a little more aggressive than it should have been. Faithful to God, same thing. I think and I realized that part of it's probably me, the attitude that I have going into these talks too. But another thing, like listening to those guys, and I realized that they're coming into this scene, into this the great debate community where there's guys like G-Man and Ronnie that are already established, and of course they're going to fall into camp with these guys. And then they start to for a while there they emulate the same type of behavior, like that kind of aggressiveness. They started off that way, and I think that they're actually I think they've fallen away from that. I think that they're kind of falling into their own stride now, because they're not unreasonable people. They're actually nice. They seem nice, and the more that they can distance themselves from the toxic part of their own community, guys like G-Man, that can actually lead to better conversation, better discourse between people that are actually interested in having these discussions. So
here's the strange thing is like walking up to a Christian going, how do I become a Christian? Like some of these people don't seem to know what to do with someone that actually would want to convert. Isn't that weird?
I think because they've trained themselves to face resistance at every corner. It's not like the Jehovah's Witness I speak to, every week, where they're ready. They're waiting for an opportunity for me to just get on my knees and beg them to pick up one of those pamphlets and follow them to the local chapter. They're looking for a fight. They're looking to show the folly of the secular ways or the whatever ways, so that they can break it and then build you back up properly in their image. And so I think that's kind of why they're ill-equipped to face people, in the category that you just described.
There are Christians, or non-Christians, sorry, there are non-Christians that have talked to me in off-air hangouts about God and what they're wrestling with and what they miss about Christianity or what they don't know about Christianity.
Who did that? They're traitors. I need their names. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
And a couple of people have converted, and it's nothing to do with me. It's about whatever they're dealing with and their experience and what they're reading and what they're studying and doing. And really, a Christian online is just a sounding board. We're just, and if you're not available to be a sounding board or and you're just preaching and yelling and you don't listen to anybody, you're going to miss that opportunity of actual real connection.
That's why I like emulating the example of St. Francis. He said, preach the gospel all the time, and if you have to, use words.
It's a crazy concept you got there. Actually emulate the person that you pay homage to. That's craziness, man. You should keep that to yourself. Don't spread that around.
Well, I'm a Catholic atheist anyway, so
But the other thing is too, like I think it's important for Christians to not tote people as trophies. Oh, I won this person to Christ. Let me tote them on live hangout as a trophy or something. You know what I'm saying?
How many diss raps did Jesus make?
Oh, if Jesus was to make a diss rap, it would be against the Pharisees.
Oh.
Our blessed Lord was quite sarcastic, though.
Yeah, he called them a den. What do they call it? Venomous snakes
Den of vipers, whitewashed tombs.
Yep. Which whitewashed tombs was actually, I mean, we think of it as clean on the outside and empty on the inside, but it also was considered like a swear word. These were bad words to them. There's a reason.
Tombs are whitewashed.
So you're saying
women are barren.
So you're saying your man JC was a gangster?
Totes.
I think when it counts, he's the hardest on religious people in particular.
Does he look like the piss bottle prophet in his profile picture?
No.
And by the piss bottle prophet, I don't mean the account. I mean, MK.
Does Jesus look like MK? No, I think Jesus would look more Arab.
Only after turning the water into wine.
The scariest rendition of Jesus is Salvador Dali's version of Jesus in The Great Supper or The Last Supper.
Everything Dali does is creepy.
That's a freaky looking Jesus. It's blonde and like dead looking, and one foot's bigger than the other.
Yeah, but like there are clocks that are bleeding in half of Salvador Dali's paintings. So
the clocks that are bleeding don't disturb me. Those are cool, but his Jesus is freaky.
Salvador Dali himself looks crazy.
Yeah, that I don't trust a guy with that kind of mustache.
Did you know?
You know what was interesting about Dali was he was infamous for the amount of sleep he didn't get. So what he would do during the day to make up for it is he would sit in a chair on a tile floor and hold a key between two fingers. And as soon as he would like really nod off, he'd drop the key, which would ping on the floor and wake him back up. And that was how he took naps during the day.
Oh, that's fucking terrible. But I do something similar, like when I'm like lying down on the couch, like just reading like through news and stuff on my phone, or watching a YouTube video, and I pass out and I drop the phone on my face. That's
I
kind
did
of the
that
same
to
thing.
myself after work this morning.
I don't feel so bad about doing that to myself a few times a night then.
Yeah, I do that probably at least once or twice in a night, where I'll be just lying there like I said, watching either a YouTube video or listening to the news, and lying on my back with my phone above my head, and don't even realize I fall asleep until the phone just smacks me right in the face.
I know it's time to wake up when I drop the baby.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Usually a good sign right there.
At least you're picking an alarm that makes a loud sound.
It's okay.
Don't drop
the
your
baby will
babies.
just land on the 25 other babies. They'll cushion.
And
There's a lot
if
of
that one dies, man, I got spares,
So take a look at my screen here. This is one of my favorite depictions of Jesus.
Wow, Jesus has some great abs. He looks ready to win the Olympia. Jesus
that is a
Christ.
Jesus who is ready to burst right off that cross.
Don't mess with Korean Jesus.
Yeah, he's like the Olympian that's doing the rings, or they're like the cross, the iron cross.
Iron cross. Right?
Yeah.
Now that I will believe that Jesus cleaned the temple with a whip.
Yeah, right?
That's table flipping Jesus right there.
That Jesus has some dynamite abs.
Because the motherfucker's got like a 10-pack.
Look at his lats. Jesus.
Yeah, he's got some fucking lats.
He's got
That
webbing.
guy- like, okay, that's not possible. You can't do that type of row and back work in the ancient world. There's also no deca or there's no testosterone in the synthetic testosterone in the ancient world.
Hey, we don't call him the son of God for nothing, man.
Yeah, man. If he can turn water into wine, I'm pretty sure he can turn water into some type of like health supplement.
You think that version of Jesus was making anabolic steroids out of water?
just think of him getting up in the morning, filling up like an urn or something with some water, shaking it a couple times, and having turning into a protein shake.
Or a workout.
There's the German Jesus where Jesus is like being tortured and like he's like medium built, but his hands will be all like crazy like broken and messed up looking.
Doing the trials of the cross there, he's having them put more weight on.
Fuck.
Another plate.
Yeah, throw another plate on this. I got this, guys.
It's like that one weird. I don't think it's a cross exercise in the World's Strongest Man, but it's the one where they've got the two pillars and the strongest man's like holding them in place.
That fucking Samson shit.
I do have to say, the World's Strongest Man is one of my favorite sporting events to watch because it's so silly.
It's like, you remember watching them do the farmer's walk near the beginning of it?
Yeah. Or drag that fucking plane. Like, it just looks so silly.
My favorite one is this where they take the big beer kegs and then toss them back over their head, like over the high bar thing.
Yeah.
And have them land behind them. Just like
that's just good, clean fun. Yeah, I used to watch that as a kid. That used to inspire me back before The Rock started acting. I used to watch the World's Strongest Man competition and practice my farmer's walk and shit like that. And oh man, it was inspiring back then. And now I'm just like, there's so much more better things that I could be doing.
They're so fat. That's what I'm hearing.
The even better. I don't know. It's right up there with the World's Strongest Man, though. Is like the lumberjack challenges. Have you ever seen those ones?
What?
Oh, those are awesome. I will totally watch those.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's just a Canadian thing. I don't think it's a Canadian
It's
thing. I think it's an
definitely
American thing
just a
too.
Canadian thing. It's called the Lumberjack Challenge. What
they're
type of
really
entertainment? I don't.
entertaining.
You should check these out. Like look them up on YouTube there. But it's like these guys coming out there. They got like their own like professionals because it's a sport. So they have like their professional saws that they use and stuff too. And so they come out there and like he'll be like, okay, so you gotta climb this tree and cut off like a part of this here or whatever. And they just like throw like the leather strap around the tree, like fucking shimmy up it, and you see how quickly these guys can take down a tree, or like the hatchet challenges and like throwing axes and stuff. It's fucking hilarious, man. If you like go watch lumberjack challenges.
Hey, you laugh, but I used to try the hatchet shit when I was a young teen. Of course, around the same time I was watching the other shit. But that it's actually hard to do when you're 17, 18, or 16, 17 years old, trying to throw a hatchet and you make sure it's like lodged into a tree stump.
By a hatchet, do you mean throwing a tomahawk?
When I was probably about 16 or 17, I bought a set of throwing knives, and I was like, I felt badass about that for probably about a good solid 3 hours until I broke one by trying to throw it into a fucking wooden wall.
Good investment.
Yeah, but yeah, for a while there, I'm just like, like just thinking to myself, just like, this doesn't matter, like what people think of me. I got fucking throwing knives.
You like that Star Wars kid who filmed himself with the golf clubs?
You know what? It was a ball reacher. It was like the ball retriever thing that if you were knocking in the water. But that guy, what is he? He's like a lawyer now or something. He's gotten over it.
Is he Jewish?
Sam?
What now?
What, does Sam have like a roster?
I don't know. Do they?
I'm not like fucking Oscar Schindler, motherfucker.
Like a list.
I don't have a list of Jews.
Who has the list of the Jews?
Yeah, you had to. Okay, you had to know a Schindler's List reference was going to come.
They just know how to recognize each other by their markings.
Wow.
Just a few digits, no big deal.
What do you think? I just went up to the guy and asked him if he liked a good bagel, cream cheese, and lox. Fuck you.
But would it work?
Probably. That's a pretty good test. I've met quite a few vegetarian Jews, though, so I am in California.
All I want is for the bear Jew to be real.
Well, all really good like Jews in San Diego love DZ Aikens.
I don't know who that is.
You've not been to DZ Aikens?
Nope.
It's the Jewiest restaurant in San Diego.
That's probably why I haven't been there.
Well,
The Jewiest.
You could always tell girl Jews though.
Because the life is getting sucked out of everybody around them?
No, because of their boobs.
Yeah, Jewish girls
All right,
do
I'm
have
listening.
good boobs.
Okay.
Yeah, we do. We've got amazing boobs.
That's a thing.
Look up communism kills.
Legit.
I mean, at what cost? But that's a different discussion to be had.
No.
Well, look up the account Communism Kills on like Facebook, Twitter, or Tumblr, and like she is the stereotypical female Jew.
Be right back. Gotta Google Jewish boobs.
I'm just saying, DZ Aikens is yummy. You need
For
to go there.
science, right, Sokka?
What? What's
For
going on?
Well, just look up Sarah Silverman's. I mean, you would think that they're nice, but nope, they're not.
Well, speaking of which, drag that. Oh, Google quick.
Google quick. This is the most ever.
This is like literally every 20 minutes.
It's like practically a cadence.
And poor Gretchen's always left going, "What happened? Did you
So
kick me?"
yeah. So drag that is germane to the message I just sent you on Facebook. She was a Jewish girl.
I gotcha.
No, this was. Well, you already answered this one a while ago.
Oh, that one. Okay, yeah. 2 words: shelf life. That's all I'm gonna say.
What is she, a Twinkie?
What's a Twinkie?
Yes.
Well, a Twinkie never ages. Maybe she's an opposite of a Twinkie, is what you're saying, right?
I may have allegedly saw her on is an ex of mine. I saw her on like a random app while I was, on the toilet, as you do.
Well, you're swiping left.
No, I swiped right because I just want to know. I mean, I already had sex with her, so it's not any mystery. But I could tell that the picture she was posting were all, for the most part, old. It's a funny thing once you've seen someone naked and then you see how they try to portray themselves to people who have not seen them naked.
That's why I'm so glad I'm married. I don't have to deal with that bullshit anymore.
Mrs. Dragna, I disagree with you, Jim.
Dating is a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I don't enjoy it.
You know, I never really was in it. I mean, I dated a couple of girls in high school, but I met my wife day 2 of college, and that was it. Here I am.
Great success.
Yeah, September will be 10 years we've been together. Whew.
Mrs. Dragnon's making all types of noises of enjoyment. Evidently, she liked your announcement there.
Aw.
You guys,
Yeah, that was
my
one
wife
of
and I
those-
just celebrated.
What did you guys
maybe
just
if you
just
heard the
celebrated
news
our
of
10th
kid
anniversary.
number 476, maybe that's what.
That's a bit much, man.
It's too many.
I draw the line at 275. All right.
Fair enough.
Well,
Jeff.
At that rate, in order to do that, you'd have to become Mormon and have several wives.
Hey, Jim's
Look,
pimp hand
man.
may be strong. I don't know if it is.
See, here's the thing, though. Like, polygamy has built-in punishments. That's multiple mothers-in-law.
Oof.
You know, that's a good point. I have not thought about that. Yeah, that's. I'm gonna have to think about that one now.
As if that's on the table.
And just the addition of more people is never going to make it less complicated.
Right. But I mean, if the magic underpants weren't enough to turn you off, just remember, there's another mother-in-law waiting for you in the wings.
My whole thing was, I feel like when I've been in relationships, dealing with one girl is like, that's enough energy I have to put into that one person. Like, imagining putting that into another person just fucking scares me. Like, that's a lot of goddamn
I know.
effort. And I'm lazy.
And I mean, as much as I obviously like sex, like some nights, I just want to play video games, damn it.
Oh man, no, at one time my wife got a little baby crazy. And that was rough. I'd get the pep talk text messages on my way home from work.
The pep talk?
Oh yeah, like be
What?
ready.
That doesn't sound like a pep talk. That sounds like the marching orders.
Sounds like sexting.
Oh, kind of. Because, I mean, 3 or 4 times a day.
It's a little different though. Like you've left sexting behind, especially because like you're starting to take on that concentration camp look because you don't have any fluids left in your body.
I didn't know that you guys were thinking of having babies.
We did it one time, and it was a lot of months of a lot of disappointment.
Those dry spells are the worst.
Oh wow!
Wait, is it just near? Like, okay, I'm just going to point this out. I've had some large home pours of scotch tonight, so my ability to judge time is not great. But I feel like the frequency of these Google quakes is more and more. It's increasing. Am I crazy in that?
No, it is.
It seems like it.
Because I was just about to say, I wish I could trade my fertility with someone who was infertile, because I would save so much money. So much money.
I'm definitely fertile as fuck because I'm one of 4. I'm the first of 4. So and also it's all boys. So like that means that if I'm having a kid, it's gonna be a son. And like I don't know what I fear more. Because my cousins have a bunch of my cousins have girls, and they're evil, and a bunch of my cousins have boys, and they do property damage. So I don't know which is better. Like I don't know evil versus property damage.
Property damage, man. Take it from somebody who has both.
Am I off in that characterization? Like the kids are angels.
Not at all.
I love them, but like. My cousin, his girls have just turned like I think like 14 and 13 or something, and girls just turn like conniving and evil at that age. It's kind of creepy.
Well, it goes further back than that, man. My daughter's 3 years old, and everybody is scared of her.
Well, some of them do start young.
It's so bizarre though because they'll be like. I mean, like I can only speak from the point of view where I babysat for them, but it's really crazy to me because on one like what the turnaround between like devil and angel is so quick. It's just like like it's in a second it just snaps and you're like, oh God, you're evil. It's like you're watching the Exorcist movie and she just turns in 2 seconds. Like it's so bizarre.
I think girls just are psychological, man. We're really emotional and psychological, where boys are like, "Rawr!" and they're like physical and they're bashing each other's heads in.
Yeah, it's consistent. It's a different like consistency. I would think because I've only had younger brothers, but then one of my cousins he has a son and 2 daughters, and it's just such a different experience. Like taking care of them.
I think you can sum it up with the Dark Knight metaphor, right? Boys are like the Joker, right? We just do things, and where girls are a bit more methodical and thought out.
They're the schemers,
kind of like Ra's al Ghul.
All I can think of now is the conclusion of this video that was a best of r/nice girls.
Oh boy.
And then he's like, so I think I've discovered the distinction between nice guys and nice girls. A nice guy will murder you, but a nice girl will get you framed for murder.
Yeah.
Well, it's like what that fucking movie Gone Girl.
Yes.
Oh man, yeah, that one's crazy.
I still have to see that.
Bill Burr had the funniest thing because Bill Burr he had the funniest thing on his podcast because he has like a weird memory. Like he doesn't have a very good memory. He has a weirdly like associative memory. So instead of remembering the title Gone Girl, he was on this podcast with his wife and he called it Where'd the Bitch Go? Instead of Gone Girl.
That's excellent.
Which is too funny.
I always like that comic, like when you talk about the differences between men and women, where like the one girl's leaving. She's like, all right, bye, honey. Bye, sweetie. Later, sugar. And then she's off panel. And you're like, she's such a fucking whore. I hate her. And then it cuts to the dudes like, later, faggot, die, kill yourselves. And he's off panel. Like, yeah, he's a good dude. Yeah, he's pretty all right.
No homo.
Right. Yeah, obviously. No homo.
Obviously.
Well, I don't know, man. It is the current year.
Mm.
You know.
I always liked my my friend's dad's rule of thumb. It's not gay if the balls don't touch.
Ah, well,
That's
I had another
perfect.
friend who had that as his motto. He also tried to give me a hickey, so that was kind of mixed messages.
Yikes.
That's wow.
Yeah, I was like, dude, what the fuck? And I got him off of me.
So how many kisses did he give you before he didn't complete the hickey?
Not many.
Not many.
There alcohol involved?
I mean, we were drunk, but I was not about that. Despite my love of dick jokes and homoerotic humor, definitely not gay. Definitely don't enjoy being touched that way by a guy.
Sam's like,
Play gay chicken with an infantryman sometime.
I kissed a dick and I liked it.
I put a picture in the external chat. I go the hangout chat of my son. If you guys want to like get an idea, like just like the Joker reference. Like, does he look like a guy with a plan?
I want to take a look at this.
Yeah, that is.
He's just a dog chasing cars.
He does not look like
He's
a guy
out
with
chasing cars.
Why is he wearing one shoe?
he put one of his shoes on. It's a Croc too.
So much of this is a win. He's in his or either underwear or diaper, but he's got one shoe on. He's opening up an umbrella.
Inside, well, I can only. It looks like he's staring directly into a light. There's a lot going on in one picture. There's a lot to unpack.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is a perfect picture of parenting right there. This is what being a parent is. You just don't know. You just go with it.
That's my boy.
I just thought it was what happens when daddy dresses him. Diaper, one shoe.
Hell, I don't even get that far.
Actually, it's so funny. I used to work in a daycare. It was one of my first jobs. And I remember I could always tell when dad put on the diaper as opposed to mom. It was just always so funny.
That has been like the one process of like I think intellectually, I think that I could, and emotionally, like I could handle a lot of the raising of a child, like a lot of some of the stuff just out of having experience with kids. But the diaper changing and the dressing, I think would be a tough one for me. Just from
It's really
used to it after a while.
The diaper changing isn't the biggest thing. Is when they've had explosive shit and they sit in it and then it crawls up their fucking back. And you have to wonder, child, at some point in time, did any of that feel uncomfortable? And that you just said, you know what, I'm either going to stop shitting or I'm going to find adult. So no, they sit there and they do it and they play and they act just like they normally do. You pick it up, oh, you're so cute. Let me give you a oh God, what is that on my mouth? Yeah.
No, the same thing. Like diaper changing is nothing. It's when you get to the stage where like they're in the transitional period between diaper and potty training, when they're big enough to like know how to take their diapers off.
Oh gosh.
And
yes.
So like, so it gets to the stage where like my youngest son, my middle kid, is in that stage right now. So if he, takes a shit in the middle of the night and, realizes the diaper's uncomfortable, he'll just take it off and throw it someplace. or rub it onto the wall or the bed or whatever.
Oh.
So you get to wake up. So you get to wake up in the morning and there's a kid inside the crib there, just covered in shit. That's what's worse than a diaper.
Yep. Or when they shit in the tub. That's always fun.
Okay, I think on that note, I'm gonna get to bed. It's late here, and
I thought you were gonna say sterilize yourself.
And yes, I think I gotta get some tubes tied. Maybe seared off.
Dear, no more sex. No more sex, dear. That's it. We're done. No more sex.
Oh God. All right. Night, guys.
Night, Scott.
Good night. Relish fatherhood and motherhood. It's a beautiful thing. Because I actually should go and wake up my son right now to make him go piss, even though it's 1 o'clock in the morning.
Well,
he's probably already done it.
It is 11 at night, and I do work early in the morning, so I'm gonna probably close the hang.
All right. Well, I had,
for the
thank you for hosting.
Thanks
Great for thank you all for instilling a mortal fear of children. I already had it as a single guy, but thank you for reinforcing it.
Well,
No problem.
it's cool. The repopulation of Earth will happen with Jim anyway. He's doing the moral good.
I'm way ahead of y'all on that one. Catch up.